I am in Marvel, all heroes are my employees. 1. The life of the rich is unpretentious and boring. New York. A city of charm and danger. Especially when it is located in the Marvel world, the charm and danger of the whole city have been increased countless times. Not long ago, a majestic building was built here. Hung Lai Building. Although the neighborhood of the building is not prosperous now, everyone knows that it will become the future economic center of New York. Because the owner of the building is called Yi Han. A mysterious figure who had an accident not long ago but swept the world's financial world. At this moment, the mysterious rich man, who has attracted worldwide attention, is sitting leisurely in his office, overlooking the whole city. He has a panoramic view of the grand scene of New York City. No one knows that the biggest millionaire in New York is actually a traveler. After Yi Han crossed into this world, he was bound to the strongest boss system. The novice reward obtained is simply the root of all evil. Banknote ability. The specific amount of property, even Yi Han himself cannot estimate. Even if he spends without restraint and spends arbitrarily every day, he still does not make the number in the account longer than the ID number. At first, Yi Han also indulged a little bit, but after everything was over, the rest was boring. After thinking, Yi Han found the meaning of life. Salted fish. He has no ambition to conquer the world and no idea of superhero. I just thought about the unpretentious and boring, rich life. Simple is the best. Occasionally investing in one or two companies has also become Yi Han's best pastime when he is bored. So in the process of spending money every day, Yi Han accidentally invested in more than half of the world's industries. Business, arms, recreation, energy. Yi Han shares are held in top companies in almost all industries. He even invested dozens of schools unknowingly. Yi Han became famous overnight and was dubbed Yi Bancheng by the state media. Because there are too many industries under his name, he established a direct investment company, Hung Lai Holdings. After that, things changed. As long as a new employee joins the Hung Lai company, he can receive a reward from the system. Open black lens bracket. The life skills of the white bear. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Doraemon's foodie tablecloth. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Woolooki's hair clipper. Close black lens bracket. The rewards of the system are mainly based on the convenience of life, which is of little use. All I can say is that talking is better than nothing. Raven Darkholme Mystique becomes your employee and gains the Dog Charm ability, one of the 12 spells. Congratulations on getting your first special employee, the reward item, True Vision Guard. Jonathan Blazer, Ghost Rider, becomes your employee to get Saitama's workout manual. Until then, Yi Han didn't understand the real usage of the system. As long as there are mutants, or those with super ability join their own company, they can get super rewards. The Dog Charm in Uncle Long's adventures can give him infinite vitality, making his lifespan almost limitless. Sitting and watching the destruction of the world is no longer a luxury, but a romance. As for Saitama's workout manual, Yi Han can only say that One Punch Man is a bit fierce. Lift the barbell and gain 2 tons of strength. Digestion after a meal, the speed can be comparable to that of a vehicle. Wearing clothes, skin and clothes form friction, and the skin's toughness is enhanced. With 3 meals a day, the hardness of the teeth and the bite force have been significantly improved. Even just breathing can keep the internal organs constantly strengthened. Every moment, his physical fitness is constantly getting stronger. Although I don't know why these 2 super ability people came to their own company to work. But the rewards they brought were good, and they usually kept their guard up, so Yi Han didn't pay any attention to them. It doesn't matter if Mutant is an ordinary person as long as he concentrates on his work. Boss, here is your work schedule. Just then, a soft female voice interrupted his thoughts. Yi Han's secretary, an OL woman with long blonde hair, appeared in front of him. The beautiful face tends to be immature, and the plump body is just right. If it weren't for the systematic labeling, no one would believe that the real identity of this soft girl with a soft voice and a soft body is actually Mystique. The woman who can bring infinite satisfaction to men through her own power. At the moment, Mystique is holding a large stack of documents and performing her duties as a secretary. Boss, this is the company's investment a while ago, and it has gained a total of 500 billion in revenue. Yi-Han nodded slightly, affirming Mystique. He has little interest in things like earnings. Money is just a string of numbers. His original intention of starting the company was just to pass the boring life. That's about it. Where do you see the need for verification? Mystique tilted her head slightly and showed her best profile, waiting for Yi-Han's reply. She had grown tired of the feud between the mutants and disagreed with Magneto's cruel decision. Rather than being stuck in the middle, she prefers the comfortable life now. Moreover, the owner of OWN is also an attractive man, and it is more and more comfortable to get along with him. His recognition of this company is also growing day by day. You can arrange it. Although Mystique's appearance looks cute and soft, but in terms of workability, it is still worthy of recognition. Yi-Han doesn't need to mention many things, she can complete them in advance, and the achievements made can't be faulted. Yi-Han finished his coffee and was ready to clock in and get off work. This has always been his daily routine. Boss, your work is not done yet. There is also the driver's information I found for you, take a look. Mystique held a few documents and looked at Yi-Han pitifully. With every gesture, you can show the most lethal side to men, which is Mystique's talent. Yi-Han didn't take a closer look, and took it over and flipped it a few times. I trust your vision. After speaking, he pressed the file back to Mystique again. Mystique's cushioning was so good that I almost didn't hug it. He started the company just to pass the boring time. As for work, he has done it. What does he want the secretary to do? However, an envelope fell from the document. There's a bloody handprint on it. It's definitely not something in the file, just look at it and Mystique can be sure. Yi-Han opened the letter, read one line, and threw it in the trash. There is actually a company that still wants you to go to the interview. Looking across New York City, no company has this qualification. Okay, I'll take care of it. Mystique's eyes swept across the envelope and started helping Yi-Han change clothes. Her height was reaching Yi-Han's chest, and she helped Yi-Han adjust his tie. It was still red, and this was the third one this week. Does Yi-Han like red? Although he seemed calm on the surface, he had already remembered this point in his heart. Watching Yi-Han leave, Mystique was not in a hurry to work, but began to adjust her own appearance. The full head of blonde hair turned fiery red in an instant, and the pupils and body were also slightly adjusted to be more in line with Yi-Han's aesthetic. Will this be too deliberate? Orientals like to be subtle. She has slightly reduced the degree of change. A little change every day will not be seen by others. Since knowing the country where Yi-Han was born, Mystique has begun to make her own appearance closer to the Orientals. Mystique now has a mixed race flavor. Mystique nodded with satisfaction, and when the boss comes tomorrow, his eyes will definitely shine. Thinking of this, she almost laughed. But the smile didn't last long, and her eyes turned to the envelope that suddenly appeared again. She seems to have seen such bloody handprints before. 2. Ghost Rider. Someone wants to interrupt my work. In front of the Punglai building, a security guard is sticking to his own post. Although he was standing a little crookedly, there was no sway in the slightest. He was not wearing a security uniform, but instead looked like a beast. There is an aura surrounding him. Don't mess with me. If it weren't for the badge, no one would believe that he was a security guard if he was killed. Everyone who came in and out was 8 meters away from him. He also obviously does not want to communicate with others. Until Yi-Han appeared at the door, his expression thawed instantly. Boss, are you going out by yourself? Do you need me to accompany you? He didn't want to hug Yi-Han's thigh, he just wanted to thank Yi-Han. No matter what kind of threat Yi-Han encountered, he was confident to block it. Because his name is Ghost Rider. I'm going home, no need to accompany me. Hearing that Yi-Han rejected his own proposal, Ghost Rider's expression was obviously disappointed. Standing guard every day, he did not think it was a tiring job. After working for such a long time, there was no accident in Penglai building. Hiding here for so long brought many hidden threats to Yi Han, but he couldn't make the return he deserved. This makes Ghost Rider feel a little guilty. When Yi Han leaves, Ghost Rider will enter a state where no one else can enter. But at the moment, Mystique actually walked up to him. "Come to the boss's office at night to find me." The words were very solemn, as if there was something important. The Devil Knight thought for a moment, then nodded. In the struggle against the devil power in his body, he hurt many innocent people. In desperation, he didn't even know where to go. Until he saw Mystique, saw her life now. Mystique found her own position in the Penglai building, completely separated from the previous life. If she can live so easily, why can't she? So he became a security guard. Do not seek wealth, do not seek progress, just want to live in the sun every day. When Mystique went upstairs, the Devil Knight regained his composure. But inside, he was still thinking about Mystique's words. It seemed like something went wrong for Mystique to show such an expression. At the same time, inside the kitchen of the underworld, a psychedelic drug factory, Mrs. Gao is inspecting the work of the blind workers. "Boss, the letter has been delivered." A man dressed as a ninja walked out of the shadows and reported to Madame Gao on his knees. "Hope he makes a smart choice and doesn't let me down." Mrs. Gao looked like a thin old lady, but there was a kind of energy in her words. "If he refuses, I will personally tie him up as a gift to my lord." The man kneeling on the ground swore an oath to Madame Gao with a kind of fanaticism of faith. "As long as he provides property, we will provide him with protection. There is no reason for him to refuse such a thing," another subordinate of Mrs. Gao said. In the words, there is a blind confidence in the power of the opponent's union. "Hope he doesn't keep us waiting too long." The words of several people made Mrs. Gao very satisfied. Finding the keel costs a lot of money, and even the hallucinogenic drug business is no longer sustainable. It just so happened that Yi Han appeared and took the whole world by storm with a lot of money. After observing Yi Han for a while, Madame Gao finally decided to do it. For her, the keel is the continuation of life. Unfortunately, we waited until sunset. Yi Han still didn't appear in front of them. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* rotation of the hand. A section of steel bar was snapped off by Mrs. Gao in an instant, and the fracture was like a knife cut. Her patience had been exhausted by waiting all day. Let me go and bring Yi Han's head back, this is a contempt for my lord. Fanatical ninjas fight immediately. As a sectarian killer organization, their faith is far more important than money. Madame Gao quickly stopped him. Life, she wants; money, she doesn't want to let it go. Serving the Han Society will be his great honor. What a pity. He rejected our friendship. This is disrespectful to my lord, and it is also disrespectful to me. Bring him back here for trial. Yi Han needs to pay for his arrogance. When it was dark, Mrs. Gao lined up 2 ninja teams to head towards Yi Han's company and the manor. Since you want to start, you must be foolproof. No matter where Yi Han is located, there is no escape from her palm. At the moment, Ghost Rider also just finished the job handover and found Mystique. What's the matter with me? Although the two of them know each other's identities, they have no contact at work, and usually do not have any intersection. Now that Mystique hastily called herself up, something extraordinary must have happened. Do you know this? Mystique placed the envelope in front of the Devil Knight. The hands. Ghost Rider knew more about hands than Mystique. They are hyenas in clothes. Wherever there is interest, they are there. It seems that the wealth of the boss has attracted their attention. The flame in his hand ignited, and the envelope instantly turned to ashes. Ghost Rider's eyes suddenly turned a little bit more murderous. I was worried before and didn't know how to repay Yi Han, but now I have the opportunity to perform. Although Yi Han won't know about it, at least he can comfort himself. The strength of the hand union is half, but it is well known that they are difficult to deal with. Their snooping will bring great risks to the boss. During this time, you are here to protect the boss's safety, and don't leave opportunities for the other party. Mystique assigns work to Ghost Rider. If it weren't for her average combat power, she would be able to achieve 24-hour, close-to-body, protection. It's a pity that such a good opportunity can only be left to Ghost Rider. It's not easy to get back such a peaceful life. I won't let the hand be ruined. The Devil Knight's eyes became firmer. It was a hard-won beauty that he would not allow anyone to destroy. Mystique had heard before that the legendary Ghost Rider had the power to kill gods and demons. But looking at the man in front of him, he couldn't get in. Perhaps the legend is too exaggerated. But now, this rising momentum has given Mystique new confidence in the legend. Suddenly, Ghost Rider's eyes turned into two flames. It seems that we don't have to guess when the other party will come over. In Mystique's puzzled eyes, Ghost Rider looked at his feet. They're here now. 3. One punch for a small villa. Is it that strong? Yi Han's manner. Since I have Saitama's workout manual, it has become a habit to lift iron for 5 minutes before going to bed every night. When Yi Han was rolling iron, he suddenly looked out the window. Several ninjas jumped out of the window with a rope in their hands. A large number of ropes tangled in the air, forming a rope net, and covered Yi Han. But their eyes dazzled. Yi Han actually disappeared from the rope net. What? The sneak attack ninja was taken aback. The next moment, Yi Han had already appeared on the rope net. Once he stepped on the rope net, he couldn't pull it off. Teleport. Super strength. The veins on the foreheads of all the ninjas were throbbing. Now they want to scold the mother. Is this AF********* G normal person? Did the person who collected the information have the brain of Yonida? When I go back, I must kill these animals that don't do anything with money. A good leisure job has now become a life-threatening situation. Is this the basis for your contempt for our hands? Even if you are a mutant, you still cannot escape the punishment of my lord. The ninja leader shouted at Yi Han. Although the opponent is a powerful mutant, there are not a few mutants they assassinate. As long as you pay enough price, no one can't kill. This made Yi Han frown slightly. When did he offend the Hand Association? Although for him, this organization is no longer threatening, but the most annoying thing for flies is annoying. He didn't take that letter to heart at all, so naturally he wouldn't remember it. But that didn't stop Yi Han from getting angry. Is it so difficult to want a quiet life? Don't hold back, kill. The ninja leader directly and selectively forgot Mrs. Gao's entrustment. To hold on to such a powerful enemy is really courting death. Dozens of people used their best killing skills. Each is the supreme skill of the killer world. When studying, they are all killing moves that are trained with human lives. Yi Han hasn't learned any moves yet, just a punch. Huge amounts of fist power rushed towards them, and the weapons they attacked all broke, shattered and even weathered in an instant. And weaker than weapons, is the human body. Under the strength of their fists, they were completely shattered and turned into powder. However, the fist strength still did not decrease, and most of the villa was bombarded and disappeared. The remaining fist strength seems to spread forward again, until it dissipates outside the manor. Yi Han's manor is dense with trees and many insects and birds. Usually, he sleeps in the natural symphony of insects and birds. But now, there is no sound. They had already been killed by all the fists that were released. Yi Han looked at the almost completely destroyed house. Looks like I'm going out tonight. Meanwhile, another team of ninjas also successfully met with Mystique and Ghost Rider. After entering the building, they were like non-existent people. Silently, no one noticed their coming. Even standing behind them, he still didn't feel anything. In the silence, the security guards in those buildings have been stabbed through their hearts, or their throats smeared behind their backs. The above is Yi Han's office. Just grab Yi Han and leave, don't waste your time. The ninja leader clearly remembered Mrs. Gao's goal and captured Yi Han alive. Everyone else nodded in unison, moving in unison. The ninja leader made a gesture, and the ninjas rushed into Yi Han's office like fleas. You guys are so slow, I want to find you all. Ghost Rider loosened the chains on himself. Where is Yi Han? Tell me, and I can let you guys go. Although Yi Han was not found, the ninja leader did not give up. Beat me and I'll tell you. Ghost Rider's chains burst into flames. The ninja leader looked at the other party's chain with fear in his eyes. Mutant. Don't think it's great to be a mutant. The mutant I've killed is better than anything you've ever seen. Before his harsh words were finished, his pupils began to dilate constantly. Ghost Rider liberates its own appearance, and the bones are dead, and fire burns. The jaws are constantly closed, as if laughing. What kind of monster is this? I'm afraid it's a monster among monsters. Even the hand-to-hand ninjas who have gone through countless fights can't help but feel a little scared when facing Ghost Rider. But just as they retreated a little, Ghost Rider's flames began to shrink inward, and there was no heat outside. Almost burned the floor. Ghost Rider wiped himself a sweat inwardly. This is the boss's office. After this interruption, the ninjas dispelled a lot of fear in their hearts. Moreover, Ghost Rider's action of retracting the flame also made them feel that the Devil Knight's power could not last, and it was just an empty shelf. You look like a devil. Do you think you are a real devil? The ninja leader has begun to move sideways. A large number of flying darts were thrown towards Mystique and Ghost Rider, covering their bodies directly. The other ninjas attacked Ghost Rider directly with scythes, katana and other weapons. It is impossible to stop such an intensive attack. As long as the opponent is injured, he will use Ei, who has practiced for many years, to solve him. It's all in his calculations. But the next second, Ghost Rider shook the chains. The chains flew, forming a small Uzumaki in the room. Fortunately, Yi Han's office was renovated with a whole floor, and the area is large enough. Otherwise, Ghost Rider really can't be used. Dark shadows lingered, swords danced wildly, and the weapons and people attacked were all smashed by the flame Uzumaki and turned into fly ash. The devil. The real devil. Everyone else was completely stunned by the scene. This skeleton is a real devil. Why do you want me to accept such a task? The hand holding the knife has been loosened, and his eyes have become slack. Their will has been tested by countless assassinations, but they think they have no determination to fight. Did we kill so much that the devil came to take our souls? Immediately, many people knelt down. Their faith also took a huge amount of shock. The other party is just a mutant. My Lord will bless us. Stand up and fight with me. At this time, the ninja leader's hand holding the knife was shaking, and his footsteps were constantly retreating. But he still uses words to encourage his men. This damn skeleton is too strong. Even if it wants to escape, someone needs to stand behind it. This group of rubbish, the rubbish that can't stand up. Only let him get out of this one use. After returning Mrs. Gao, he must use this skull to make soup. But before he could escape, a bony hand grabbed his collar. Sinful souls need to be judged. Looking at each other, he saw a patch of blood. 4. If you touch my boss, I will kill your whole family. The leader of the ninja with his eyes burned to charcoal was thrown to the ground. Ghost Rider swung out a flame and turned to ashes along with those ninjas who no longer resisted. Seeing that the battle was over, Mystique hurriedly called Yi Han. Boss, we have a few troublemakers here. Did you have any problems? When asked, Mystique's heart rose. Although in their eyes, the killer of the hand is nothing. But for a boss like an ordinary person, it is an invincible existence. Everything is fine here. If you don't call me, I can sleep until dawn. Yi Han glanced at the ruins and corpses behind him, and said indifferently. Mystique's heart finally returned to its original position. After Yi Han hung up, Mystique glanced at Ghost Rider. Everything is normal at the boss, we should go and solve our own business. Ghost Rider was taken aback by Mystique. What else? If you see a bedbug, you should shoot it to death. Isn't it our obligation to prevent the boss from getting his hands dirty? The Hand Society really dares to do such a thing, then they don't need to exist. Mystique had made up his mind that the hand must be destroyed tonight. They exist for one more second, and they are all irresponsible for the boss's safety. After Ghost Rider understood, the flames behind him grew a little bigger. Exorcism is done, and their sins must be baptized by fire. Now that he has already started, in order to prevent endless troubles, it is a must to kill all the opponents. Once caught in that situation, his identity is not far from being exposed. The two hurried towards the kitchen of the underworld. Lady Gao's lair shortly after the ninja leader was killed by Eye of Judgment. Mrs. Gao woke up from her sleep, and there was a lot of cold sweat on her body. She gasped, this sense of crisis has not appeared in many years. Did something happen again? Have all the people sent to catch Yi Han come back? Mrs. Gao thought about it for a long time, but she has only done this thing recently. Is it related to Yi Han? I haven't come back yet, I don't know if Yi Han has been caught. A ninja respectfully said to Mrs. Gao. None of them came back. 1. Mrs. Gao's voice gradually became smaller, and no one except her knew what she said at the end. But her expression became more and more solemn. With a loud bang, the door of the factory was instantly slammed open. Mystique and Ghost Rider broke in together, and the ninjas and cultists gathered around them. Mrs. Gao, we have come to talk with you on behalf of the boss. Don't you want to talk? Come out and talk. Although they are talking about business, this is not like a business attitude. Really. When I saw the two who broke in, I understood the situation. I'm afraid this Yi Han is not a soft persimmon, he didn't bite the flesh, and he broke his teeth. Who are the two of you? Although our hand association is only a branch in New York, not everyone can talk about business. Mrs. Gao jumped directly from the high platform, and the dust did not fall. She is a rebellious Kunlun, with 400 years of Qigong accumulation, even Jin Bing wouldn't dare to confront her head-on. This is to give Mystique and Ghost Rider a slap in the face. Mystique's complexion gradually turned blue and returned to her original appearance. You should know me. Mrs. Gao's facial muscles suddenly twitched. Mystique. She is not afraid of Mystique. 100 Mystiques are not enough for her to fight, she is afraid of the forces behind Mystique. Relying on the weak combat power, he was respected as one of the 3 giants of Mutant. Whether it's Brotherhood, or X-Academy, or even Hellfire Club, they all have a good relationship with her. As long as you touch her, a group of perverts may come to you at any time. It seems that Yi Han is behind Mutant. If I knew this earlier, I would never provoke him. I apologize for Yi Han's matter. I will pay the compensation that I should have. Even if it is not enough, the 4 of them will help me raise it. Resolutely admit it. If it was Mutant, she would definitely not be able to fight. However, she was still afraid that the other party would take revenge, so she put out the other 4 fingers of her hand to support her. If you want to kill her, you have to think about the 4 men behind her. The ninja and the believers were a little overwhelmed when they heard Mrs. Gao's words. They had all heard of Mystique, but they didn't know about Mystique's involvement, and they didn't know why Mrs. Gao made such a low profile. What compensation? Life. Ghost Rider looked at Madame Gao with unkind eyes. When he came, he had no intention of letting go of anyone. The believers and ninjas have already taken out their weapons, and this guy who looks like a beastly clan doesn't take the hand union seriously. Mrs. Gao was also a little embarrassed. The old lady has already given up her face, and apologized to you in front of so many people, but you are not finished yet, right? I'm afraid of Mystique, but not of you, rascal. Do you know how many people like you I kill every year? It seems that little brother doesn't want to talk to me kindly, but I'm afraid you don't have the ability to kill me. She's made up her mind to kill this leather-clad poker face. As long as he doesn't kill Mystique, Mutant shouldn't provoke him easily. Mrs. Gao was still very proud of her own strength, just when she was about to launch a swift blow. The flames ignited, and an evil skeleton appeared, with 2 flaming pupils looking directly at her soul. Just the sight made her feel like she was about to dissolve. Ghost Rider. These words were said almost word for word. She hadn't seen Ghost Rider, but the lore about it persisted. All the villains who have seen Ghost Rider have died. She doesn't think she's a good person. What the hell is Yi Han sacred? Even if Mutant supports him, why does Ghost Rider call him boss? Is the world crazy, or is this old woman crazy? Give it to me and get rid of them. Mrs. Gao directly ordered her subordinates to attack several people. Since it is Ghost Rider, there will be absolutely no peace talks. Ghost Rider just casually waving the chain has already killed and injured most of the remaining ninjas. The blind workers were also sent by Mrs. Gao. This is the line of defense that has tortured countless heroes. If you want to kill Mrs. Gao, you have to kill all these blind people. Heroes who cannot bear these human lives will never be able to defeat Madame Gao. Unfortunately, this time they faced Ghost Rider. He never said he was a hero. The flames on Ghost Rider were unscrupulously vented. This time, he did it to destroy. 5. Madame Gao's anger. How dare you say that you are an ordinary person? Flames surged in the factory, and the people surrounding Ghost Rider instantly turned into coke. There is nowhere to escape except where Mystique is. Items such as brackets and instruments melted into iron juice. Even the air carries a surprising amount of heat. Without the support, the whole building made a crunch, crunch sound, like it was about to collapse. Ghost Rider and Mystique shrank a little, and only Char was left, and it was impossible to tell who was who. Under my flame, no one will survive. Ghost Rider has enough confidence in his own strength. Mystique still has the heart to explore again, but the shaking of the factory is getting bigger and bigger. As soon as they left, the entire structure of the factory was completely disintegrated and turned into ruins in one place. In less than 5 minutes, several cars drove to the ruins. Dozens of people in suits, videotaping every detail. The ashes and molten iron that Nashi was melted were also kept as samples. Phil Coulson, agent, we have completed the investigation. There are 237 corpses inside. Most of the corpses are carbonized. The identity of the corpses cannot be identified. No survivors have been found. It is suspected that they are all dead. The person who conducted the investigation reported it to the leader of this time. Destroyed. Phil Coulson was also a little shocked by this news. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't easily take down the strength of the Hand. Have they offended anyone recently? There has always been friction with the major gangs, but after receiving information, the Hand Association has been inquiring about Penglai Holdings recently. Penglai Holdings. Yi Han. Phil Coulson's facial expression changed a bit when he heard his subordinate's report. Unexpectedly, this world-class rich man who suddenly appeared in the world would have something to do with the collapse of the Hand Society. It seems that I need to have a good chat with the director. After they left, spies from various gangs appeared one after another. Wander constantly nearby, gathering intelligence. Inside and outside the factory, people are constantly entering and leaving. It was a very noisy night. It's just that no one noticed that in a corner of the ruins, a series of bloody footprints appeared at some point. The underworld kitchen gang is prevalent, and even at night, there are still countless scum who look more like ghosts than people, wandering the streets. But they finally met a ghost on their way through the night, and this time they met someone who looked more like a ghost than them. Get out of here. An evil spirit, whose whole body was blistered and most of its skin disappeared, knocked out the people who came along the footprints. Looking at the depression in their chests and their sloppy eyes, I'm afraid they can't live. This terrifying person is naturally Mrs. Gao. After all, she has Kunlun Qigong, she was not killed by Ghost Rider, and she managed to escape. But now it is also 5 labors and 7 injuries. Not only is her body almost half familiar, but even her soul seems to have been hurt, making her always in a state of irritability. Although she was burned so badly, Mrs. Gao had no resentment in her heart. Or rather, dare not have. The gap in strength is too great, and she has absolutely no resistance to ability. Even if another bad old man gathers together, I'm afraid they will only give away a few more, chai chicken. Yi Han, He De He Nang. He is just an ordinary person, yet he can get the support of so many people. The most hateful thing is that he is still showing his face. If you had said earlier that you had such a pervert, I would have gone crazy to trouble you. Gotta get out of New York. He'll let them come, I can't stay here. Destroyed by Ghost Rider, he even decided to give up the task of finding the keel. Without the keel, she can live for more than 10 years. If she stays here, I am afraid she will not survive for 3 days. With the support of such a will, even if she was seriously injured, Mrs. Gao still reached another nest of her own. The 100-meter-high unfinished building, but the ground has been dug into a hole, and hundreds of ninjas of the Hand Group worship their master, devil, beast, inside. In other words, this is the real old nest. The building in the kitchen of the underworld is nothing but a drug factory and a lair on the bright side. This is where the New York hands meet. Is it the head? Master, are you like this? There was an accident in the factory. When we went to investigate, we didn't find a living person. Just as Mrs. Gao approached the gathering point, she was discovered by the ninjas. But they also quickly recognized Mrs. Gao. Even if he turned into this monster, he still had the aura he should have. Arrange me to leave, this must be arranged immediately, and then contact Murakami and the others. Things have changed in New York. Even if the bread had no skin, the ninjas could still see Madame Gao's panic. As their leader, Mrs. Gao's strength and bearing have always been admired by them. Who can Mrs. Gao show such a gesture? Just as the ninjas drugged Mrs. Gao and waited for Murakami and the others to connect to the video, a man appeared on the surveillance. Yi Han. As her previous target, Mrs. Gao was no stranger to Yi Han's appearance. But when she saw Yi Han, who had been going to be arrested, came to her door, she didn't feel any joy. Instead, there was panic in her eyes. Change the picture, who will come with him? She was afraid that she would see Ghost Rider in the surveillance video. Yi Han. Are you really going to kill them all? Fortunately, only Yi Han was shown, which made Mrs. Gao breathe a sigh of relief. But the inner doubts continued unabated. There is definitely a conspiracy, this must be using himself as bait. I will never be fooled. No one is allowed to go out. No matter what the other party does, no one is allowed to go out without my order. Mrs. Gao gave the most severe order. The ninjas looked at Yi Han. Is this the person the leader is afraid of? It looks ordinary, but how strong can it be? Until they saw Yi Han raise his fist. Don't disturb my ordinary life. One punch. Yi Han came this time to completely resolve the hand union. For this reason, he deliberately got up early and climbed out of a group of young models with difficulty. The ground collapsed, the building collapsed. The ninjas were still curious about Yi Han's actions just now, but now they just want to escape. But how to escape? Huge amounts of tremors were emitted from the ground, and the shattered unfinished building began to fall, with Yi Han's unbroken fist in it. There is no escape, there is no escape. It's just a punch that has such power. Is this still something humans can do? Madame Gao's heart also collapsed completely. Sure enough, the world is crazy. Damn ordinary people, no wonder Ghost Rider will be your employee. Because y'all are G pervert. If you are an ordinary person, what am I? Severely disabled who lived for 400 years. The force roll carries the dirt and building fragments, constantly flipping in the space below. Like a dragon turning over, the entire ground vibrated significantly. The bodies of the ninjas were smashed and torn apart wantonly, and even Mrs. Gao's physique that could withstand the flames of Ghost Rider was of no use. Under the pull of strength, it fell apart and merged with the gradually calming earth. The other 4 fingers of the hands scattered all over the world are looking at each other at this moment. Just as Yi Han threw his fist, they finally connected to the video, but what they saw was, without Mrs. Gao saying it, they already understood. Six. S.H.I.E.L.D. intervenes to investigate, a cat. In S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury is comparing 2 points of intelligence, listening to Phil Coulson's report. Mrs. Gao's pharmaceutical factory was destroyed, and the secret stronghold of the Hand was destroyed. Judging from the situation left at the scene, there are powerful super ability people who have taken action, and it should not be the same person who did it. When will there be another such organization in New York? Nick Fury's face darkened a little, if at all. The strength of the Hand is not weak, and Mrs. Gao's information has been kept in the shield. It is said that the traitor came out of the sacred land in the east. The ninjas under him are even comparable to the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's not counting the ordinary congregants, blind workers, and gang members. But now, the once mighty Hand Association has suddenly disappeared. Even when it happened, no one found out. An organization that can do this will be so powerful. Just the thought of such a dangerous time bomb in New York makes Nick Fury's heart agitated. The situation has become more and more out of control, and it has been difficult for ordinary agents to deal with these things. Maybe you should start that plan, gather an unusual group of people and ask them to curb this trend. Just as he fell into contemplation, Phil Coulson's words woke him up from his contemplation. Before the Hand Society was overthrown, it had been secretly collecting information on Yi Han, and we now suspect that this event has a close relationship with Yi Han. Although there is not much direct evidence, but Phil Coulson still regards Yi Han as the #1 object of suspicion. Yi Han? Nick Fury asked as if to verify, is that mysterious rich man who buys properties around the world? After getting a positive answer, Nick Fury pinched his chin, wondering what he was thinking. Don't relax in other directions. Yi Han is only the most likely person at present, and the suspicion of others cannot be ruled out. Help me get in touch with Penglai Holdings. I hope to have an interview with Yi Han in the near future. It took a long time for Nick Fury to give the order. Yi Han's intelligence is also a mystery in S.H.I.E.L.D., except that he appeared in New York not long ago, and was like a blank person before. In the information age, this is almost impossible. This is a point Nick Fury is particularly concerned about. Even if there is no such thing, he plans to meet Yi Han once in the near future. When Phil Coulson left, Nick Fury's eyes were dark. Yi Han, what kind of person are you? And at this moment, the person Nick Fury wanted to explore is now leisurely heading to work. In front of the company, Mystique has been waiting for Yi Han to arrive. Although Yi Han said last night that she had no accident, she always had a kind of worry before seeing Yi Han. It was not until Yi Han's figure appeared in front of her eyes that she completely relaxed. Morning, boss. Ghost Rider, who was standing guard, greeted Yi Han, as if nothing happened last night. Yi Han gave him a slight nod and looked at Mystique. This secretary is fine, but some are too clingy. Boss, the driver has arrived, would you like to meet me? He followed Yi Han obediently and told Yi Han about the work arrangement. Did he wait for a long time? Yi Han glanced at his watch, it was almost noon. Mystique shook her head quickly. Boss, you work so hard every day, it's normal to take a break. When I said this, Mystique had forgotten that basically all the work was done by herself. And Yi Han's work time is to drink a cup of coffee. Just when Yi Han was about to enter the company, Yi Han suddenly discovered that there was an orange cat sitting in front of the gate. Although the body is orange, it is not bloated. After scratching his abdomen a few times, the other party seemed to be using it. Facing Yi Han with his belly, he made a woohoo sound. Yi Han is not tired of this cute little animal. Yi Han's way of teasing the cat made Mystique dizzy. The boss is really the best, and the cat can be so loving. After scratching for a few more times, Yi Han walked into the building, but after taking a few steps, he looked behind him. The orange cat swaggered after him. Little thing, we can't take you. Ah. Mystique went up to expel the orange cat, but was left with 3 slender bloodstains on his arm. Moreover, Mystique actually noticed that the skin near the 3 bloodstains was turning blue. What's up? As his own secretary, Yi Han still wanted to express his concern, but Mystique pressed the wound tightly. It's all right, I'll take some medicine in a while. Mystique looked at the orange cat with obvious fear. Although her combat effectiveness is not strong, her reaction speed has not been weak, but just now, she was scratched by such a cat. If it wasn't for the pain, she didn't even notice the other's claws. Near the wound, the mutant ability was also completely ineffective, revealing its original skin. This is definitely not an ordinary cat. Since Mystique said it was fine, Yi Han didn't think much of it. He glanced at the orange cat who was rubbing his head against the legs of his trousers. There is no collar, and it looks good. Don't chase this cat, it's not bad to keep it in the office, buy me some cat supplies later. Mystique wants to stop, this cat is definitely not easy. But looking at the orange cat clinging to Yi-Han, he couldn't find a reason to refuse. He could only look at the orange cat, walking behind Yi-Han with a step he didn't recognize. After Mystique was bandaged, the orange cat had put on a special collar, and the nameplate on it was engraved with the name Yi-Han gave it. Yumi. This orange cat is a female cat, so Yi-Han gave it such a name. Seeing that it doesn't want to move too much, I gave it such a name. At this moment, it was squatting on Yi-Han's table, with its neck raised, shaking constantly, as if showing off its own nameplate. Mystique is not taken lightly because of its innocuous appearance. The constant pain in her arm kept reminding her that something was wrong with the cat. Even Yumi's random call made Mystique panic. You know you're afraid of cats. Yi-Han threw a stuffed toy to Yumi and asked Mystique. I haven't been near Yumi since Mystique came in, so she's obviously a pretty cute thing. Mystique can only nod awkwardly. She is not afraid of ordinary cats, but this cat. I hadn't noticed it before, but now living with this cat, there is always a feeling of being crushed by the level of life. 7. The driver you said is Wolverine. Seeing that Mystique was scared, Yi-Han also threw her a stuffed toy. Mystique immediately took the toy in a conditioned reflex, but the moment he received it, his face became blushing. This is teasing her as a pet. But to be honest, she didn't have the slightest resistance in her heart, instead she still had some small expectations. Mystique hurriedly shook her head, shaking her thoughts away. This move made Yi-Han take a few more glances. I have to say that the red-haired Mystique is indeed very eye-catching. Yi-Han was just a casual glance, but in Mystique's opinion, the boss really paid attention to her hair color. Touching her face, Mystique could clearly feel the heat on her cheeks. The boss really likes red, so he changed all his underwear to red when he went back. I'll go to the driver for an interview. Mystique, whose heartbeat started to speed up, hurriedly ran out of the office, taking this opportunity to calm down her emotions. Yumi also slipped out without closing the door. After a while, Mystique walked in with a capable man with deep eyes, and Yi-Han's eyes narrowed. This height, this appearance, Yi-Han always felt familiar. What's your name? Yi-Han's words just fell, and the other party hurriedly answered. Logan. His voice was a little low, but with a little anticipation. He seemed to need this job very much. Just call me Logan. This name allowed Yi-Han to identify the other party. Start work today. Hearing this sentence, a surprise appeared in Wolverine's eyes. He was successfully hired. For hundreds of years, in order to avoid fighting, even living in the deep mountains and forests, he has not seen outsiders once a year. Even so, he was still found. But now, he has entered a new process. Join the world-famous company and become a humble driver. When everyone is looking for their own traces in the mountains, I am afraid that they will never guess that they have become a migrant worker. With the entry of Wolverine, the rewards of the system will also be credited. Logan Howlett Wolverine as your employee, reward item, horse charm. Another talisman that can heal any horse that hurts and hurts. With it, coupled with the dog that can provide endless life, Yi-Han is the regenerative healing factor. Sitting and watching the world destroy is no longer a luxury, but a romance. Having received the reward, Yi-Han signaled with his eyes that he could go out. Although the other party is in the world before crossing, many people like it. But for Yi-Han, it's just a driver. Just worry about whether the Wolverine is stable enough to drive. It was the first time Wolverine worked in the company in over 100 years. She couldn't understand Yi-Han's eyes at all, so Mystique led him out. As a driver, look at the boss's eyes more in the future. Although she found a job for Wolverine, it doesn't mean their relationship is harmonious. Wolverine didn't seem to hear her, but Mystique held on. When you come here, you must break up with the previous things, and don't bring the previous things into the company. After a pause, she deliberately said, we are all people who are hiding. If we are still in contact with the previous people, we will still implicate ourselves after all. The own matter can be solved by yourself. If the company or the boss is involved, don't blame me for being rude. Such Mystique is considered one of the three giants of mutant, fully revealing his hidden ferocity. It's completely two people with the personal assistant who is acting cute and begging to be bullied. I know this better than you, now I just want a quiet life. Wolverine is like a middle-aged man who has experienced wind and frost. The life of more than 100 years has brought him more pain. That's what makes me want to work here. Since Penglai Holdings can provide enough cover for Mystique, it must also be able to. As a driver, you must protect the boss's safety. This is the only requirement for me to arrange work for you. I hope you can do it. Once again, Mystique emphasized the reason for letting Wolverine in. She herself is not a fighting-type mutant, and Ghost Rider's job is a security guard, and rashly changing jobs may attract the boss's attention. So she found Wolverine, who also wanted to retire, to protect Yi-Han's safety. With such a meat shield, Yi-Han's safety can reassure her a lot. I will protect the boss, but not because of your request. He provided a shelter for him, this is the only reward I can give him. Even if Wolverine is a lot more decadent, she is still Wolverine and is not threatened by anyone. Mystique doesn't think so. As long as she can protect Yi-Han, she doesn't care about Wolverine's attitude. Also, Ghost Rider works as a security guard in the company, don't panic when you see it. Mystique settled down suddenly. Ghost Rider. He has lived so long, the legend of Ghost Rider is still heard. There are really hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the company. Anyone else who needs attention. The implicit meaning of Wolverine is, does the company have other super ability people? Mystique's expression suddenly became a little subtle, and she unconsciously put her hand on her own wrist. There is one, but it's not a human being. Wolverine was keenly aware of the change in Mystique's expression. Although Mystique is not good at fighting, she is not an easygoing character, so she would show such an expression. Which one? He had just finished asking when Mystique pointed to one place, that one. An orange cat was strolling leisurely in the aisle, yawning from time to time and making a delicate sound. Just getting close makes Wolverine's hair stand up with Beast's intuition. His perception is far better than Mystique. This also made him feel the horror of the cat even more. In his opinion, creatures such as male lions and tigers are not even qualified to compare with this kitten. What is this? Wolverine couldn't imagine what kind of monster this cat-like creature was. Mystique took a deep breath and said helplessly, "Boss's new pet." A few hundred kilometers away, a secret military center. Usually this place is under martial law, but all of them have used such a big battle. The Army and Air Force jointly sealed off the area. A green monster was running at an astonishing speed, roaring huge amounts of time from time to time. The fighter jets and tanks have been spread out, but the muzzles are locked on the green monster. In the helicopter above the monster's head, Betty was holding General Ross's arm and begging with a cry. "Leave Banner, I beg you." General Ross glanced at his daughter, without a trace of hesitation, said coldly, "Fire." 8. Nick Fury's shock, what a genie. Nick Fury sat in the car and kept looking at Yi-Han's information. But that brief information, no matter how you looked at it, contained no useful information. Just when he couldn't find any weakness in Yi-Han, the car had already reached the Penglai building. It seems that this is the only way to see Yi-Han. It was his first time meeting someone without knowing anything. It's not a good omen for him. After getting out of the car, every few steps he took, he was stopped by a man dressed casually. "Wait a minute, do you have a pass?" Nick Fury's footsteps were instantly stopped by an arm. "What are you looking at?" "Security." Ghost Rider pointed to the own sign. "You can't enter without a pass." Being a security guard is so aggressive, Ghost Rider is also the first. Nick Fury pressed his chest and looked at Ghost Rider a bit wrong. He is a user of infinite formula potions, and his physique is not comparable to that of ordinary people, but the opponent can easily stop him with one arm. There is definitely something wrong with this place. I have an appointment with your boss, you can go and ask. Ghost Rider glanced around Nick Fury. This person is definitely not a good person, but he has an appointment with the boss, he still reports to the side. Nick Fury took this opportunity to scan Ghost Rider's data with a smartphone specially made by S.H.I.E.L.D., and began to compare it in the database. The mobile phone is not important, what is important is the supercomputer inside S.H.I.E.L.D., and the huge database of information. As long as you obtain a part of the other party's information, you can find the desired information from the information database through the world's fastest calculation speed. And now, the other party's information has been sent back. You can go up, but it's best to stay safe. After a positive response, Ghost Rider let Nick Fury pass. Nick Fury just smiled reluctantly, but did not respond, and quickly entered the interior of the building. That's rude. Ghost Rider said loudly, clearly speaking to Nick Fury on purpose. However, Nick Fury did not refute, and the speed of his feet accelerated a lot without anyone noticing. Ghost Rider. Jonathan Blazer. The biker who was said to have signed a contract with Devil. The moment he saw the other party's message, Nick Fury's heart was taken aback. This terrifying existence that hunts evil every night is actually here. In the 80s, Ghost Rider could well be called the fear of a generation. Ghost Rider is also on his shortlist after coming up with the idea of a team of heroes. But they haven't been able to find him. I didn't expect to have joined Yi Han's company, and it was just an ordinary security post. What a waste. If he hadn't been able to figure out Yi Han's details and Ghost Rider's temper, he would want to go up and dig a corner now. Walking into the elevator, a shrewd man was already standing in the elevator. It was Wolverine who went to inspect Yi Han's vehicle. Nick Fury's pupils shrank involuntarily. He doesn't need to search for information about this person. Has been active on various battlefields. National War, Civil War, hit humans, hit mutant. He is a weapon of war. Unexpectedly, Wolverine is also in this company. Look at his hat, is that the driver? It is also such an inconspicuous location. Are there any normal people in this company? When I saw two, they were both super ability users. Nick Fury didn't breathe a sigh of relief until Wolverine got off the elevator halfway through. In such a closed environment with such a beast, even he has a lot of psychological pressure. The elevator arrived, and a young girl came to greet him. I'm the boss's secretary, just call me Raven, come with me. 4 slender, sweet faces, not like a super ability, but Nick Fury did not relax. There are many kinds of super ability, and this slender girl is likely to hide some terrible ability. Scan it again with the phone, and the information is quickly called up. Born in New York, the previous generations were born. Death is clear and doubts are reduced. Aged 23, worked as a model, and participated in beauty pageants, her suspicions have diminished again. After graduating from a prestigious university, the movements of each year are recorded, and doubts are almost dissipated. Donated blood, but no mutant gene was found. But when Nick Fury saw it at the end, a lot of sweat appeared on his brows. Death. On August 17 last year, he was hit near Queens Boulevard in New York City and died at the scene. Death proof is also in the archives. The dead come back to life. There are no normal people in this company. The destruction of the Hand Society is also inseparable from Yi Han. The pharmaceutical factory is likely to be solved by Ghost Rider, and he has such strength. Then the old nest of the Hand Union should be killed by other super ability people hidden by this company. The water in this company is a little deep. Who the hell is Yi Han? Why did he suddenly appear at this time? Why are these people working for his company? Is there any other inside story behind the collapse of the Hand Society? The more he thought about it, the more Nick Fury felt like he had touched an amazing organization. It is not difficult for such an organization to shake the world. Walking to Yi Han's office, it was only a few steps away. Nick Fury's sweat had completely soaked the clothes inside, and his lips had become dry. Boss, here comes Nick Fury. Mystique took Nick Fury to Yi Han's office and handed Yi Han a few documents. These all require Yi Han's personal signature. Nick Fury is not impetuous at all, his eyes have been completely stunned. What was that teased by Yi Han? Did you see it for yourself? Origin devouring beast. His left eye, which he hadn't felt for years, was aching now. What is this terrifying monster that blinded itself doing? I was teased by the cat stick and showed my belly. Stick out your tongue to be cute. Rolled on the table by Yi Han. He really wanted to convince himself that the cute thing in front of him was not a yuan-devouring beast, but an ordinary orange cat. But he can't. He will never forget the murderer who stole his eyes. I wonder what director Nick Fury has come to see me about. After signing the words, Yi Han looked at Nick Fury. He didn't have any intersection with S.H.I.E.L.D. before, that's a big hole. As long as they are in contact with them, it is difficult to have a quiet life. Nick Fury looked at Yi Han's face and didn't know what to say. Ask about the Hand Union. Or ask these hidden super ability people in the company. I am afraid that if I ask it myself, I will never be able to get out of this building again. But if there is no valid reason, Yi Han can definitely see that something is on my mind. Finally Nick Fury gave Yi Han a reluctant smile. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s funding has been difficult recently, can you support some? He was already trying his best to make the brightest smile, trying to make Yi Han feel his sincerity. 9. Iron Man. You may not believe it, I'm dying. Donate to S.H.I.E.L.D. As long as there is a brain, no one will do such a move. Uncover the surface to see the essence, the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. is black. No matter how rich Yi Han is, and he loves throwing money at it, he will never vote for S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. is busy, it's time for you to get back to work too. Unceremoniously push people. Nick Fury looked at Yi Han with disappointment, but he was relieved inside. No matter what Yi Han thinks of himself, at least his purpose is not revealed. We may have a lot of cooperation in the future, and it is necessary to communicate more now. Nick Fury glanced at Raven. It's natural for people to do the work, right? He softened the atmosphere with a witty tone, trying to provoke Yi Han's topic, and now he doesn't want to leave. Yi Han is so mysterious. Any intelligence on him is worth gathering. Especially since this company may have innumerable special abilities hidden in it, Yi Han's intelligence becomes even more important. Being able to become the boss of so many special abilities, Yi Han is by no means an ordinary person. As long as he can chat, he will naturally be able to understand Yi Han's character and some hidden information through Yi Han's words. Raven, see off. After saying this, Yi Han teased Yumi. The position of S.H.I.E.L.D. director in his heart is indeed not as good as this kitten. Even Nick Fury, who is very shrewd, is inevitably treated like this, and it is inevitable that he will not be able to come down from the stage. But he didn't dare to say anything to Yi Han. Who knows that in this office, there are a few hidden who can solve their own powerhouses in an instant. Nick Fury, now, doesn't mind thinking about Yi Han's power with the greatest imagination. Fortunately, at this time, Nick Fury's mobile phone received a message and successfully helped him out of the siege. He clicked on it, but it was a video of a green creature wreaking havoc. Its side is already covered with the wreckage of military weapons, and after screaming in the sky, it runs towards the distance. Banner. Military property. Coming to New York, asking S.H.I.E.L.D. to help arrest. Nick Fury's expression suddenly changed. Unexpectedly, the military also created such dangerous creatures. He must help with this task, not because of how strong the military is, but because he is greedy. Today's exchange was very pleasant, but I have a new job, thank you for your hospitality. After saying a few words, Nick Fury cautiously walked out of Yi Han's office. As he passed by, he saw a familiar man. Stark, whose face was beginning to show vicissitudes, was sitting in the waiting area with a slightly anxious expression. Mr. Stark, do you still need a refill? One of Yi Han's working assistants asked. I've had the 5th cup of coffee, haven't we finished talking? Stark had been here for a while, but there was always someone in Yi Han's office. If it was anyone else, he would have directly broken in, but this is Yi Han's office. He could only wait obediently. Now I finally see someone coming out. It turns out that this troublesome guy is wasting his time. Can I go in now? But Stark soon showed a look of joy, and it was finally his turn. No, the boss is resting, just wait. Mystique, who sent Nick Fury out, turned cold when he saw Tony. This troublesome guy actually came to disturb the boss again. If it weren't for the other party being a public figure, Mystique really had the urge to kill him. While she was speaking, her fingers began to type dexterously and sent the message to Yi-Han. Boss, that annoying guy is here again. Mystique's reply disappointed Stark again. Pour me another cup of coffee and I'll go to the bathroom. The helpless Stark had to go to the bathroom for the 7th time. It's good to have coffee to kill time, but unfortunately the kidneys don't allow it. When a person reaches middle age, the kidneys cannot help themselves. Nick Fury couldn't help but wonder when he saw the two of them. Is there even a connection between Iron Man and Yi-Han? From the looks of it, he often comes to Penglai building. However, according to Secretary Yi-Han's tone, Iron Man's status in this building is not high. Iron Man has been an influential figure since its birth a year ago, and is also the focus of monitoring by S.H.I.E.L.D. If Iron Man is also related to this company, then the size of this organization will have to be re-estimated. There are not all the special abilities in this company, and the outside world is afraid that there is still more energy lurking. With that in mind, Nick Fury's departure starts to pick up speed. I have a poor sense of security, and in such an environment, I feel that my own life is full of threats. Although the speed is fast, it is extremely careful and does not dare to touch anyone. I'm afraid that the white-collar workers who pass by, or the ant who cleans, is a fierce man in disguise. Nick Fury's behavior was strange, but neither Mystique nor Stark took him to heart. How long does your boss need to rest? Tony is still reluctant to give up, he must meet Yi-Han. Mystique glared at him in disgust and glanced at the reply on the phone. Come in, the boss is in a good mood today, don't say those things that make our boss unhappy. If anyone else dared say that to Stark, he'd teach them to be human. But now, he didn't seem to hear Mystique's bad tone, and quickly walked into Yi-Han's office. Yi, I need your help. As soon as he came in, Stark directly said his intention. In terms of age, he is much older than Yi-Han, but his tone is like a junior asking for help. Although Stark is a proud person, pride also depends on who is right. Facing Yi-Han, even Stark couldn't be proud. Younger than himself, handsomer than himself, and money above himself. Glancing at Raven. Secretaries are also better looking than their own. As a result, Stark could only lower his stance, not to mention that he still wanted something from Yi-Han. Tony, I'm not a welfare institution here. Yi-Han is also a little bored with Stark recently, and he comes here from time to have a few cups of coffee and make various requests. Either financial aid or technological support. In addition to the earliest time, Yi-Han invested in Stark Industry, and has never paid attention to Stark. Unexpectedly, now, Stark still does not give up. If you don't help me this time, I'm really going to die. Stark smiled wryly, unbuttoning his own button, and countless black veins spread around the palladium element reactor. He wouldn't be so not wanting face if he wasn't about to die. But life is more important. Among the people he knew, Yi-Han was the most mysterious and powerful person. He had previously shut down weapons production and announced he was transforming into an energy company, sending stock prices plummeting. If it weren't for Yi-Han's capital injection, Stark Enterprises would probably not have survived the birth of Iron Man and would have declared bankruptcy. Even though Yi-Han has gained a lot of shares in Stark, he is still grateful in his heart. Stark Industries was not destroyed in his hands. Since then, if there is a problem that cannot be solved, he will always come to Yi-Han for help. Same now. 10. Hulk gets angry and throws a big tank at you. Yi-Han didn't intend to help Stark. Although he has the power of a horse charm, he can easily solve his pain, but it is completely unnecessary. Without himself, the future Stark will not die. At most, it will only be tortured by the pain for a while. Then torture it. Anyway, the suffering Stark has nothing to do with him. Yi-Han. Being rejected directly by Yi-Han, Stark's magic suddenly dimmed. Own physical condition has reached a very critical moment. It is completely impossible to solve it through the technology and medical level of his own master, and he can only hope for Yi Han. I did not expect to receive such a firm rejection. Yi, I can actually. Stark still wanted to say something, but was stopped by Mystique. Mr. Tony Stark, your boss has rejected your business, now please go out with me. Without Yi Han talking, Mystique had already started to drive people away. She is very familiar with this process. Stark would come over from time to get close to Yi Han, seeking more help. He has driven him more times than the others combined. Stark sighed and walked out of the office disappointed. Have you really come to an end? Compared to the lost Stark, Mystique only felt comfortable. Stark is arguably one of Mystique's most hated people. If you have nothing to do, just come over for coffee, and talk to the boss about messy things. Fortunately, this annoying guy has left, and now he is in the two-person world of himself and the boss. Thinking of this, Mystique, whose ears were a little hot, walked to Yi Han's side. Boss, is there anything I need to do? The tone is a little sweet. This is the seduction of Hong Guogo. She posted her yoga movements on the dating app early this morning, and set it to be visible only to Yi Han. Then all the work will be handed over to you. Yi Han just left the job to Mystique as usual. However, Mystique took the initiative to ask for work today, and she is really getting more and more motivated. There seemed to be a few sparkles in Mystique's eyes. Boss, that's not what I'm talking about. But in the end, she still accepted her fate and accepted the job. Right. Yi Han, who was about to leave, suddenly turned his head. Mystique's eyes suddenly increased with anticipation. Boss, do you understand the meaning of own? Do you want to take me home? Remember to feed Yumi and let him exercise more after eating. Mystique is defeated. After Yi Han left, Mystique looked at Yumi, who was licking her little paw with a look of anger. It's all you nasty bee *********** D ruining my good deeds and wanting cat food. As if feeling what Mystique was thinking, Yumi's claws popped out instantly. He no longer licked his claws, but instead used his claws to face Mystique, reflecting a terrifying light from time to time. Mystique's facial muscles twitched uncontrollably. Some people may not believe it, but I let the cat threaten me. Wolverine ushered in her first job. Carrying Yi Han through New York, occasionally glanced at Yi Han's expression in the rearview mirror. Along the way, Wolverine struggled to maintain speed and stability. However, after driving for a while, the vehicle became much denser, and Wolverine's pressure suddenly increased. There are also many cars driving in the opposite direction. In order to avoid such vehicles, the sedan wobbled significantly. Although Yi Han didn't show any expression, Wolverine was a little irritable. This is what happened on the first day at work, and no one could stand it, let alone the grumpy Wolverine. What exactly is going on? Gradually, fighter jets and helicopters appeared in the sky. There were also a lot of tanks in front, forming a blockade, and Wolverine realized that something was wrong. Please leave, there are terrorist attacks ahead, you can't pass. A soldier with the rank of colonel drove the vehicle bluntly, and Yi Han's car was among them. Terrorist. Looking out at the sky, Wolverine let out a sneer. What kind of terrorist needs to use such a big battle? However, he still asked Yi Han for instructions. He has now entered the role, and he is a driver himself. Such matters still have to be decided by the boss. Yi Han estimated the time and guessed what happened ahead. I am afraid that the green fat is rampant, and the military has no choice but to block the area. There is no need for him to join in this kind of thing. Although the military will definitely not be able to solve Hulk, it will suffer heavy losses, but what does this have to do with him? Might as well go back to rest and play iron for a while. After hearing Yi Han's words, Wolverine immediately changed the line. After all the nearby vehicles had been expelled, the colonel began to lead his troops to reduce the encirclement. In the ever-shrinking encirclement, Hulk has been suppressed and can't lift his head, constantly shelled. He starts to constantly retreat. But no one saw it. Hulk's eyes, which were covered with his hands, already showed a little look. Although it is only a trace, it is not the same as before, there is only a violent desire to destroy. Hulk is also growing. Now he has learned to block, and has begun to observe the positions of the tanks and fighter jets in the crevices of his palms. From a Quinjet, General Ross and Nick Fury watched the battle. General Ross watched Hulk appear weak, and his joy could not be concealed. Finally able to catch this monster. But his eyes couldn't help but look at Nick Fury. The head of the agent's eyes went straight. I'm afraid he also took a fancy to Hulk. But this is the wealth of the military, and you will never take it away. Nick Fury was indeed surprised by the strength of Hulk. Although Ross's fighters and tanks are not as good as SHIELD's Quinjet, they are all in the frontline combat equipment. Unexpectedly, he didn't even knock out the opponent's skin. Looking at this green monster at a disadvantage, it was only temporarily suppressed. Such combat power cannot be obtained by the US imperialists, it must be under the control of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just when the two were thinking about how to pit each other, the following battle situation changed. Showing weakness, Hulk grabbed the barrels of the two tanks. Like Lee Yuanba dancing with a sledgehammer, it blew up most of the tanks. Nick Fury hurriedly commanded Quinjet to fight, but was noticed by Hulk. Although Hulk's intelligence is still developing, he has a natural fighting instinct. With a flick of his hand, the tank tumbled towards Quinjet. The tank is getting bigger and bigger in the surveillance video, and is about to fill the entire screen. 11. Hulk J.O. Wolverine's Good Friday. I am in Marvel, all heroes are my employees. Fiction Zone. Fiction Zone. Hulk's strength is far beyond everyone's imagination, and the speed of the tank is extremely fast. Carrying huge amounts of strength, he draws a violent airflow. Although it is not as fast as a missile, if it is hit, it will definitely not be weaker than being hit by a missile. Fortunately, the driver is also an agent carefully selected from S.H.I.E.L.D. The conditioned reflex drives the Quinjet to dodge. However, there is a limit to the human response, and Quinjet's wing was still injured. Quinjet made an emergency landing at a high-rise building. The people in the fighters walked out one after another. Fake, how did you fly the plane? General Ross scolded the driver angrily. Fortunately, Quinjet is the cutting-edge technology of S.H.I.E.L.D. Master, with a turbo engine, which can land smoothly. But the figure of the green fat also disappeared from their sight. Neither Nick Fury nor General Ross looked very good. I thought it was a sure thing, but such a change happened. Continue the blockade and find Hulk. No vehicles are allowed in or out for a while. General Ross is like a gambler who has lost his red eyes, and ordered through gritted teeth. Deploy Hawkeye and tell him the vacation is over. Nick Fury also asked Phil Coulson to contact Hawkeye. Looking for people. The task of testing eyesight is definitely to be done by someone like Hawkeye who specializes in surgery. General, this is a city, and there are many places where tanks cannot enter. But it didn't take long for his lieutenant to bring him bad news. Then mobilize all the fighters, absolutely can't let Hulk run away. Seeing Hulk attack directly and indiscriminately, this is my order, and I will be responsible for anything. This step has been achieved, and General Ross cannot give up. There may still be residents who have not been evacuated. Phil Coulson was still one of the few agents who wasn't dyed all black. I don't think so. General Ross's words are much more iron-blooded. Under the merits, who is not tired of bones? How can 1 or 2 lives be compared to Hulk? A dozen fighter jets headed in the direction of Hulk's flight, each carrying a discontinued Jericho missile. It seems that General Ross has indeed made a lot of money. And the direction the fighter plane is heading is not only Hulk, but also other people. Wolverine's car got more and more guilty. Where did it go? There was no one there, and it was as empty as a ghost town. Is there such a place in New York? Boss, I seem to be driving in the wrong direction, and now I have to turn around and go back. Apologetically, Wolverine started to turn the front of the car, but Yehan didn't say anything, but looked out the window. Wolverine was a little strange, so she looked over. A group of fighter jets flew in the sky. Fake. Could it be that terrorists have come here again? Wolverine is beginning to suspect that today is her own Good Friday. Just an ordinary job of sending the boss home, so many things can happen. The terrorist was still chasing after him. Go, don't screw up your own work. Thinking of this, Wolverine began to speed away. This kind of thing, he doesn't want to mix in at all. But sometimes the less you want to cause trouble, the more trouble will follow. The plane was coming towards them, getting closer and closer, and Wolverine even heard the sound of missiles exploding. What the hell kind of terrorist is this, even using missiles? And being besieged by so many fighters, he can still run so far. As if responding to his conjecture, the next second, the terrorists, rounded up by the fighter jets, appeared in the rearview mirror. Wolverine just thinks today is the day he's fact the most. Do you call this a terrorist? This is simply a green monster. Now he knows why there is a tank blockade in the city, and the fighter planes patrol. Sit down, boss, we're going to speed up. Wolverine immediately mentioned the fastest speed. Whether it is this monster or those fighter planes, it is better for them to stay farther away. Yi-Han's car has been specially modified, and the speed is full like a black light. But even so, he still didn't open the distance from Hulk. After all, Hulk is not slow either. With a single bounce, he can burst out extremely fast. When he jumps up, he can even reach the top of some buildings. When he falls, the ground also trembles. The distance between them is getting closer, and it is naturally designated as an attackable target. General Ross's original words, indiscriminate attack, he is responsible for the incident. Drivers naturally have no scruples. Whether it's a building, or someone who hasn't left, as long as you're near Hulk, then cover for sexual assault. A missile exploded not far from the car. Although it is far away, the power of this missile is not small. It directly blew Yi-Han's car out and fell into the rubble. This is still Yi-Han's wagon that has been modified, otherwise it might have been torn apart by huge amounts of impact. The body rolled and couldn't stop, until it was blocked by a large number of steel bars, and then it stopped. Boss, did something happen to you? Wolverine was a little unlucky. A steel rod pierced his stomach and pinned him to the saddle. But it was only a soft, hem. With his own will and countless injuries, he successfully resisted the pain. Immediately afterwards, he began to care about Yi-Han's safety. It was promised before that Yi-Han's safety would be protected. As a result, after talking in the morning, this happened in the afternoon. Yi-Han didn't answer, which made him panic, and the sharp claws shot out for a moment, cutting the steel bar directly. After getting out of the car, he hurriedly opened the rear door. Boss, you are lucky, I will pull you out. After opening the car door, he saw that Yi-Han's body was not injured at all, not even the dust was stained much. Although a little surprised, Wolverine still attributed it to the sturdiness of the body and Yi-Han's luck. Although he could go out himself, Yi-Han asked Wolverine to pull him out after seeing how dedicated he was. Wolverine, who focused on Yi-Han, did not see that the backrest behind Yi-Han had been penetrated by several steel bars. But these rebars have been severely twisted, shapeshifting. Naturally, the steel bars would not avoid Yi-Han, but these steel bars alone could not damage his skin. How do you drive this car? This month's salary will be deducted. Yi-Han patted the neat clothes and said to Wolverine. Wolverine. He didn't know how others felt when they heard this. Now he only feels that his boss seems a bit manly. He nearly died when the car just rolled over. There's a monster outside that I don't know what it is. In the end, all he cares about is the car he drives. Yi-Han looked at the circling fighters again, and seemed to have lost the trace of Hulk, wandering nearby. This style of doing things is really the style of the American Emperor. His eyes also changed a little bit. Anyone who was inexplicably fired a missile would feel unhappy, and Yi-Han was no exception. Just then, there was a loud bang. Hulk jumped into the half-collapsed building. 12. Nick Fury. Captain Marvel, I miss you. Yi-Han frowned as he looked at the fighter plane in the sky. These fighter planes are really like flies, making some noises from time to time, declaring their own disgust. The vehicle may not care, but it is unforgivable that it disturbs itself to go home. These fighters did not find any trace of the Hulk, and had already begun to scatter missiles in coverage. Jericho missiles are only cigar file size, and each aircraft is equipped with a lot. Even in the building where Yi Han is now, several missiles have been dropped. Just then, with a loud bang, Hulk jumped into the building. Wolverine also jumped in front of Yi Han instantly. Wolverine hadn't been too observant of Hulk before, and now he could feel the strength of each other just by being near him. That strong physique seems to have infinite power surging. Even when he stood up straight, he couldn't reach the other's waist. I'm afraid that a fight with him will be a fierce battle. What the hell is this? It doesn't look like a mutant. Could it be a biological weapon made from somewhere? Wolverine was ready to fight, and the blade had squeezed a little through his fingers. It seems that there is a showdown with the boss, and the identity of Wolverine can't get rid of it. He still can't be like Mystique, a stable life. But at least you can return the boss once. Although I have been with Yi Han for a long time, it is the most comfortable time. It's just a pity that after this incident, I don't know if I can stay in this company. Suddenly, Wolverine noticed the violence in Hulk's eyes. The guy seemed unable to control himself. In association, since seeing this monster, the other party has not spoken normally, just constantly growled. If it really has no normal thinking, can you lead it away by yourself? This way you won't expose your own identity in front of the boss. Thinking of this, Wolverine's eyes suddenly became firm. No one can destroy such a life. With such emotions, Wolverine picked up a brick and hit Hulk's face hard. Bricks become shattered. But for the rough-skinned Hulk, there was no threat at all. It smeared on the cheeks and had some more finely divided powder in the hands. Hulk, who was still roaring just now, suddenly calmed down. The roaring Hulk is never the angriest, but the Hulk with this look, getting mad. Seeing the other party's attention, Wolverine immediately Hulk ran to the other buildings. As long as the green monster is drawn away, the boss should be able to escape. Hulk also stared at Wolverine, his eyes seemed to have endless flames burning. There was nothing in the neighborhood, just bricks, and Wolverine was like Hulk throwing a piece from time to time, causing the other party to ignore everything else, just chasing after him wholeheartedly. The two gradually disappeared, and Yi Han didn't have much to worry about. The physiques of the two of them, one recovers quickly, and the other is resistant to beatings, so no one has to worry about them. His eyes are now on those fighter planes that are still bombing. It's time to tackle these annoying flies. Although after training, his physique has been greatly enhanced, even if he is directly hit by a missile, it will not be a big problem. But it won't happen. It doesn't mean that you can be bombarded by others casually. Looking at the sky, Yi Han slightly bent his legs and punched the opponent again. All the power in the body emerged at this moment. His fist became the outlet for all the power, and the immeasurable fist strength erupted from here, spreading to the sky. Those fighters didn't know what was going on, and kept diving, exploring Hulk's trail. Missiles are also constantly falling, setting up a mushroom of fire in the building. Just as these pilots attacked recklessly, the fighter plane closest to the ground shattered instantly. The others did not respond, and the remaining fighter jets began to burst. Bang! Bang! Bang bang bang! Bang bang! The farthest fighter plane has already turned its head, but it still cannot escape the fate of destruction. Before anyone could see the splendor of the explosion, the products after the explosion were completely removed by the follow-up punch. Nothing survives this punch, not even dust and ashes. The powerful fist strength also took advantage of the trend to clear a large area of clouds over 2,000 meters. Nick Fury and General Ross, who were watching the movement above the tall building, were completely stunned. They didn't wake up until Adjutant General Ross's walkie-talkie fell to the ground. What just happened? Warplanes have found Hulk and have successfully bombed it. Everything is going for the better. Why is this change happening now? All the fighter planes were destroyed in an instant, and the clouds in the sky were strangely missing, as if everything just happened was a dream. What happened in between? General Ross can be sure that Hulk will never have such strength. There is someone more terrifying than Hulk. So does it make sense to find Hulk yourself? Nick Fury's expression is also a little ugly, again. How many powerhouses are hidden in New York? I need to find a strong super ability to control these things in my hands. Captain Marvel, I miss you. They were all startled by Yi-Han's punch, but there were also people who fully noticed the vision in the sky. Wolverine led Rage's Hulk to another building. The claws stretched out, and he started the countercharge directly. There was no one else here, and he didn't need to dodge anymore. Although his body is relatively short, he scuffled with the Hulk. You punch me, I'll give you a punch. Their blood gushed out like a faucet. Wolverine's recovery couldn't keep up with the speed of the injury. The skin of the Hulk can resist shells, and under Adamantium's claws, he successfully broke the defense. One of the two roared and the other roared. If Yi-Han hadn't destroyed the fighter jets, the search team would have been attracted. Wolverine fought with each other for a while, and understood the grievances of others fighting against him. Does this monster have no weaknesses at all? Now he has begun to give up fighting for his life and switch to fighting gorillas. It seems that he can't entangle with him anymore. He is a brainless monster, and he wants to live a stable life. If someone finds out, he can only start to flee. Thinking of this, Wolverine has already begun to prepare to leave. He started constantly hiding out of Hulk's sight, and every time Hulk attacked him, he had to look for it. After waiting a few times, Wolverine jumped directly from the roof. The claws inserted into the wall of the high-rise building and quickly slashed down. And Hulk, still constantly looking for traces of Wolverine, Hulk is still too immature now. By the time he slid to the ground, Wolverine's claws had become red and hot, and even his hands had been burned. It wasn't enough that he was still expressionless and didn't seem to have much pain. The boss should not have gone far, I have to find a car to pick him up. Wolverine remembers own job duties. When he went away, the Hulk was still wreaking havoc on the roof, but he could not find the target of wreaking havoc. No fighters, no Wolverine, no way to vent his anger. Fortunately, he saw downstairs, a black spot was still moving slowly. This black spot was Yi-Han, who was hanging out on the street. This dilapidated neighborhood has a different flavor. At this moment, an angry green fat landed on his side, splashing a lot of gravel. 13. Invincible Hulk. That's it. Originally, Yi-Han thought that even if Wolverine couldn't beat Hulk, at least they could remain undefeated. Unexpectedly, Hulk came to the door by himself in such a short time. Hulk roaring in front of him did not cause waves in Yi-Han's heart. I don't even want to do it with him. Hulk is not wise enough now, not even an ordinary beast. I'm afraid he won't remember who he is, so there's no need to silence it. But Hulk was unwilling to let Yi-Han leave now. In particular, Wolverine has completely hooked up its anger, and now he has to shred something to relieve his own anger, and Yi-Han is the only target it can find. Yi-Han also sensed the other party's intentions. But there was only a little helplessness in his heart. Fighting with people like this beast, he really doesn't have much interest. But Hulk has already started charging. Without enough intelligence, it is completely controlled by its own desire for destruction. During the charge, the huge amounts of inertia added a little more power to Hulk's fist. It has always fought so directly, resisting all damage and throwing a powerful punch. Countless airflows were broken by Hulk's power, and this punch delivered huge amounts of air shocks. But no matter how fast and powerful it is, compared to Yi-Han, it has become a weak point. Just after it punched, Yi-Han's fist followed. His punch seemed to be very slow, but it was printed on Green Hulk's body first, and the opponent's punch was only halfway through. This punch didn't seem to have much power, it seemed to be just an ordinary punch, but Hulk only felt an overwhelming force coming, as if he had taken a flying peek. The next moment, a loud bang throughout the block. Hulk, who was still aggressive just now, flew out backwards, with huge amounts of depressions appearing on his chest. If it weren't for its strong physique, it might have been punched through the entire body. But even so, it was accompanied by the sound of huge amounts of bone cracks, and I was afraid that a few ribs were broken. After being knocked down, Hulk had difficulty breathing. But the violence in his eyes remained the same. Struggling to get up, Hulk seemed to have grown 2 laps in size. Although his body had been badly damaged, Hulk's anger propped him up again. The momentum of the whole body has also become more terrifying, far more than any time before. Hulk growled, declaring that he wasn't knocked down. But Yi-Han immediately punched again, and Hulk's roar stopped abruptly. No matter how strong his anger was, he couldn't support him with Yi-Han's 2 punches. It began to shrink directly, and gradually changed back to the appearance of Banner. With Banner's physique alone, he couldn't take such an injury at all, and he collapsed to the ground the moment he changed back. Without further action, Yi-Han chose to ignore it. Yi-Han was not very interested in Hulk, let alone Banner. Stepping over his body, Yi-Han strolled in the direction of his residence. "Boss, I'm here to pick you up." Just after Yi-Han walked for a while, Wolverine caught up with a nice car. Thinking about his boss's status and wealth, he chose for a long time, and then he chose a car that barely lost Yi-Han face. Yi-Han didn't ask him about Hulk either, and just went home. After Yi-Han had walked for a long time, Banner covered his forehead and stood up. "Ah, it hurts." The severe pain made him feel unbearable. His chest seemed to have been hit by a high-speed train, and his head also suffered a concussion. He shook his head, forcing himself to see that there were no more double images. How is this going? Own brain so much. Is it all caused by me nearby? Looking at the nearby ruins, Banner felt a sense of guilt in his heart. But soon, it was interrupted by severe pain again. Banner can only relieve himself by constantly gasping for breath. Among these ruins he found a tattered garment. After putting it on, with a dismal face and a look of pain. A complete bum. But Banner didn't care about that either. He found a place and wanted to fall asleep. But as soon as he closed his eyes, a green image, accompanied by a roar, appeared in his brain. He opened his eyes in horror. That's it, Hulk. Although he and Hulk were one, it was the first time they saw each other. The feeling surprised him, but soon the surprise turned into disgust. It's all because of this green-skinned monster that he has become like this. The destruction of these buildings, and the people who lost their lives because of it. Why haven't you gone away, you green monster? This body is mine, and you are a real monster. Monster. Strong negativity passed to Hulk. He was physically and mentally injured because of Yi-Han's fist, but he didn't expect to be comforted by his own Dage. Instead he was humiliated and abused. Suddenly Hulk was angry in his brain. Ah! You monster, leave me. Banner, tortured by Hulk, fell to his knees, pulling his hair like a lunatic. But Hulk never stops. Banner doesn't like Hulk, so Hulk doesn't like Banner either. After being beaten by Yi-Han, Hulk obviously learned a little bit, and he already understood simple thinking. Once again, Nick Fury and General Ross boarded a warplane and began to show up on tour. The location is where those fighter planes disappear. Although the way the fighter plane disappeared was a bit terrifying, they couldn't help but explore. These 2 people can be said to be the most stubborn and the 2 people who love everything about Master the most. If they don't find some clues, they will not be able to sleep at ease. Their fighter jets parked near Yi-Han's vehicle, and other support fighter jets were still searching for Hulk. Collect all the useful items, don't let the military get them. Nick Fury whispered to Phil Coulson. Although he has a cooperative relationship with the military now, this relationship will definitely not last long. And he himself, pretending to carelessly probe the nearby information. Until he saw a license plate that splashed out of nowhere. Immediately, a huge wave was set off in his heart. The worst thing happened. He remembered the license plate, because in the morning, he also met the owner of the license plate. And all the information of the other party is thoroughly cooked. Yi-Han. The biggest suspect in the destruction of the Hand will be a decisive figure who is suspected to represent a powerful force. Now it's here again. The disappearance of Hulk and the destruction of the plane may have nothing to do with him. Nick Fury put away the license plate without anyone noticing. He didn't plan to tell anyone about this information, even his own subordinates. Yi-Han, Penglai Holdings, the gathering place for those with special abilities, the meeting point of all things recently. The water inside the Penglai building seems to be very deep. He couldn't believe anyone until he understood the specific situation. Looks like I'll be going to Penglai building more often in the future. 14. Dare to investigate intelligence. Your time has come. Since Hulk ravaged New York, there has been one more person who came to Yihan for coffee. Cyclops Nick Fury. He was even more diligent than Stark. During this time, SHIELD's things were not much at all. Those destroyed buildings in the Hulk incident were partly responsible for the shield. The destruction of the military's fighter plane also requires circumstantial evidence from shield. Not long ago, Stark was attacked and nearly died, but the murderer mysteriously disappeared, which also needs to be investigated. But even with so many trivial things, it can't stop Nick Fury from punching in every day. Although Yihan basically never sees him, Nick Fury has done a lot of things, and many employees are already familiar with him. But these are all seen by Mystique. Although Nick Fury came here to find investment, and all kinds of documents are also available. Unfortunately, she didn't believe a word. This kind of lie may be able to deceive others, but not her. When it comes to acting and micro-expressions, she's the real master. The other party must have other purposes here, and investment is just a smoke bomb. Every time I talk to myself, my expression is always a little unnatural. Could it be that she discovered her identity? Though she didn't think it was likely, she found Wolverine and Ghost Rider anyway. They hid together in the Penglai building, and could be regarded as a group. If you find one, you may find the others together. Therefore, cooperating with each other and helping each other has become a consensus that goes without saying. There is definitely something wrong with this person. He has always been far away from me and dare not approach me. The Devil Knights were very impressed with Nick Fury. He was in and out a lot during this period, but he never walked past him. This kind of situation generally only occurs to people who are afraid of him. Every time I meet him in the elevator, his breathing gets heavier. I didn't think there was any problem before, and now he knows who I am when I drive. Wolverine looked at Nick Fury with a murderous look. He is used to this kind of life now, and he lives a relaxed and happy life every day, as if he has gotten rid of the shackles of the past. If the other party dares to destroy it, he will definitely not go around this one-eyed dragon. Even if we don't find it now, over time, it is inevitable that the other party will find out our abnormality. These agents are still very keen. Mystique has been here the longest and has the deepest bond with the company and Yihan. It can be said that she is the one who is most reluctant to leave. Then wait for me to find a chance to get rid of him. Ghost Rider is not a person who likes to use his brain, but his hands-on ability is very good. He promises that if he does, he'll be able to kill this Nick Fury tonight. The one that doesn't have any leftovers. Wolverine is also eager to try. Although he has made up his mind to retire, his paws are a little itchy after a few days of use. Mystique originally planned this, but after thinking about it, he gave up the idea. If we discovered our identity, it's still a small matter, and it's fine to get rid of him, but if we didn't discover us, this is the problem. Wolverine and Ghost Rider were a little confused by this. Whether or not anyone else knows our identity, he is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. after all. Killing him is likely to bring trouble to the company. And, if the other party's target is not us, then it must be related to the boss. Nick Fury wants to see the boss every day, who knows what conspiracy he has. We can't move this person until we investigate it clearly, otherwise we may return to the grass and startle the snake. Although it would be dangerous to expose her identity, in her opinion, the boss is more important. It really can't be shown as it is. You can be gentle, sexy, lowly, and only sans high-quality women, even if the boss may be startled at first, but after understanding from the outside to the inside, he will definitely protect himself. Wolverine and Ghost Rider aren't screaming anymore either. Sure, killing Nick Fury was easy, but what followed had to be considered. When they came to work in the company, they had already brought a lot of threats to the company, and they didn't say much about it. Then let him get in the way all the time? Ghost Rider asked Mystique. Although Mystique's combat ability is weak, but getting closer to the boss, he knows a lot of information. And he was the one with the most brains out of the three. Let's find a chance to talk to him. Whether the other party finds it or not, we will reveal our identity. If it's for us, don't say anything to hurt the boss. If it's the attention of the boss, he has to pass our level first. Mystique had already made up her mind, and had a good talk with Nick Fury. No matter what, it must be resolved before it affects Yi-Han. Mystique's words were clear and coherent, and the other two naturally had no objection. Just as the two were chatting, Yi-Han walked out of the office. Oops, almost forgot that boss was going to Justin Hammer's military industry fair. Wolverine then remembered that she had to prepare the car and left in a hurry. Ghost Rider also sneaked away. If Yi-Han found out that he was at the top, he would be afraid that he couldn't explain it. After all, he is only a bottom security guard. Mystique looked at Nick Fury, who got up because Yi-Han was gone. There are various emotions in his eyes from time to time. Hope you're a smart guy. Wolverine tried her best to finally drive the car to the door before Yi-Han walked out of the building, without making him wait. At this time, some chaos appeared in front of the building. Security guards are evicting a homeless man before Punglai building. Letting a filthy homeless roam around here is too bad for the company's image. But the other party is like a madman, always holding his head and talking nonsense. Glancing at the homeless man, Yi-Han didn't care much. This kind of thing is naturally handled by someone, and so many employees under his command do not eat dry rice. Wolverine carried Yi-Han away, but no one noticed. Just as Yi-Han passed by not far from the homeless, the madman's eyes had a long-lost brightness. Who is that? He seemed to be muttering to himself. That's our boss. Don't you envy others for taking a luxury car? You have to find a job first. The security guards dismissed the homeless man out of the Punglai building. Boss. Building. Company. Work. He seemed to be in a daze, sorting out his own thoughts in his mind. For a long time, he looked at the Punglai building with some hope. The raised face is clearly Bruce Banner. 15. If you have the guts to investigate, you must have the guts to die. In a venue near Manhattan, most of New York's celebrities gathered. The venue is luxurious and luxurious. But these places that cost a lot of money to build always have two words that come to mind: tacky. This is where Justin Hammer held the military exposition. Yi-Han walked into the venue. Although Wolverine was not accompanied, a group of bigwigs had gathered around him. Military bosses, business bosses, political bosses. They were all scrambling to fawn Yi-Han first, and they didn't care how blatant their own behavior was. In this capitalist-dominated country, money is power. I know you like quiet. I have prepared a private room for you. What do you need to prepare? Looking at the flattering appearance, it will never make people believe that this is a real vice admiral. In fact, this is not a surprising real power. The US military is too expensive. Anyone with money is on the list of military fawns, and Yi-Han is at the top of that list. Yi-Han nodded at him, listening to their various requests for financial assistance, without the slightest intention to speak. This time, I actually saw it on their face. Otherwise, just relying on Justin's status, you can't keep Yi-Han. Other weapons manufactured by Hammer Industries are already on display at the exposition. However, Yi-Han lacked interest in these things, and only waited for the appearance of the mechanical army behind. That riot should be the only interesting thing today. Wolverine outside the arena watched Yi-Han appear. Seeing that the boss had no idea, he secretly drove to the company. Mystique sent a message. Things can't be delayed, and Nick Fury's problem is resolved as soon as possible. I'll just leave for a while. There shouldn't be any accidents in this kind of viewing venue, right? Nick Fury's home. Although he is the director of a world department, his home is surprisingly simple. There was a box in front of him at the moment. This is the legacy of his old senior, Howard Stark, to his son. He has watched it no less than 100 times, but he has never found any mystery in it. It was originally planned to be handed over to Tony Stark, but the other party and Penglai building seemed to have a good relationship. This made him buckle the box in his hand. According to Black Widow, Iron Man seems to be dying, so please give Howard's relic to him before he dies. Just when he thought so, his glass shattered in an instant, and three figures easily entered his room. Nick Fury pushed onto the couch, blocking himself, his hand on a button. These buttons are scattered all over his house, and as long as he presses it, a nearby SHIELD agent will come to help. If I were you, I wouldn't touch that button easily. Ghost Rider gives Nick Fury a solid piece of advice. It was the three Mystiques who came. When Wolverine returned to the company, they rushed here without stopping. As for Nick Fury's residence, Mystique of Kaleidoscopic Shapeshift found it a few days ago. If Mystique becomes an agent, Black Widow really doesn't matter. What are you looking for from me? After seeing the visitor, Nick Fury pushed the sofa away. Although he was a little flustered, he understood that as long as the other party wanted to kill him, he could not escape no matter what. You seem to like our company very much during this period of time. Wolverine's claws were outstretched, eyes constantly scrutinizing Nick Fury's deadly part. His words made Nick Fury's heart sink. Has he touched the bottom line of the other party? The Penglai building was more impatient than he imagined. SHIELD is underfunded. Nick Fury tried to struggle a little, but was interrupted by Mystique. You should already know our identity. Mystique's words sounded like a question, but her tone was affirmative. Nick Fury didn't speak, as if tacitly acknowledging her words. Looking at Nick Fury's face without the slightest surprise, Mystique sighed inwardly, and it really came to them. But also put aside some concerns, at least SHIELD is not targeting Yi-Han. It seems that you have been coming to the company because you discovered our identity. We are all people who are tired of fighting and just want to live a peaceful life and don't want to be disturbed. We won't make trouble, and you try not to make trouble with us. Mystique told Nick Fury the whole thing. It's a pity that this braised egghead has never had a sense of trust in his heart. There were a lot of things Mystique said he didn't believe. You don't make trouble. So where did the Hand Union go? How did Hulk and those planes disappear? But he didn't dare to ask it out in person, for fear that he would die in the next second. We've all gone into hiding. Why do you still insist on forcing us to appear? Are you really not afraid of death? Ghost Rider suddenly threatens Nick Fury. He's very unhappy with Nick Fury right now. The investigation of the other party may have exposed them to other forces. If it wasn't for killing Nick Fury, there would be more trouble. He wouldn't say a word of nonsense, just kill the guy. I understand, I won't bother you again. As soon as Ghost Rider revealed his intention to kill, Nick Fury responded in a conditioned reflex. Of these three people, what he feared most was Ghost Rider. According to the information in the file, as long as the other party is willing, I am afraid that there are not enough people in this building to kill. Relying on the potion and the constant training, he still has the confidence to escape from the hands of Wolverine and Mystique. But in Ghost Rider's case, he chose to throw in the towel. I promise, I won't go to Penglai Mansion again, and I won't send other SHIELD agents to investigate Penglai Mansion, and even SHIELD can give you shelter. As long as you promise not to do things that endanger New York and humanity. Faced with death, Nick Fury chose to compromise. No way, form is stronger than people. The entire SHIELD might not be as good as a Ghost Rider, not to mention that the other party doesn't know if there are other helpers. Originally, I didn't have the power to govern the other party, and now I made such a treaty and earned it myself. Seeing Nick Fury's performance like this, the three are satisfied. Just as the three of them were about to leave, Mystique suddenly thought of something. These things are not allowed to be disclosed to our boss, you won't want to know about the consequences. As if to prove Mystique's words, Ghost Rider waved his hand and burned the Howard's relic on the table. Wherever you hide, I will find you. Ghost Rider gives the final threat. Nick Fury looked at the layer of ash and nodded. After getting a satisfactory reply, the three returned to the same path, and Nick Fury was relieved. Fortunately, I didn't deploy personnel to investigate Yi-Han thoroughly. This crucial decision really saved my life. What was destroyed left and right was just a hand union. It would be better if such scum was destroyed. As for those military planes, what does it have to do with his shield? Although it seems that this is the attention of 3 people, it can also represent the goodwill of Penglai Building. 16. 3,000 mechanical soldiers, sweeping the world. The night is getting darker. Tony Stark is sitting alone on his own laboratory table. Jarvis, how long can I live? No longer as deadly as when facing Yi Han, only because of the tragic death of his life. Comprehensive scan. It is expected that after 5 hours, your vital signs will completely disappear. Even though Jarvis has a high level of intelligence, he still doesn't know how to comfort Stark and fully show his physical condition. Feeling the passing of life, Stark thought of many people. Little Peppers. Someone he really likes. Father. He just wants the other party's approval. Colonel Rhodes. Own best friend. He hadn't even thought of this himself. Apart from the fact that the other party invested in Stark Industries, he and Yi Han did not have much interaction. But the other party seems to have a convincing temperament. Even if he is in front of the other party, there is always a feeling that he is a younger brother. So after my palladium poisoning, the first person I thought of was Yi Han. Although the other party has never helped him, but at this moment there is no hatred in his heart. Stark is also a person who keeps things clear. Although Yi Han did not agree to save him, the other party had no such obligation. And the other party may not have the means to save him. It seems that death has taught Stark a lot of things, such as contentment, such as gratitude. He didn't say goodbye to these people, and he wanted to go to death quietly. But a burst of phone calls successfully interrupted his feelings. Tony. I'm back for you. A hoarse voice came from the phone, in a bad tone. Stark seemed to have heard this voice, but couldn't remember anything. Stark didn't speak, and the hoarse laughter continued to come from the opposite side. I increased the speed. The sentence was a bit abrupt, but Tony got it. He only said this to one person, Ivan Vanki. The hairy guy who uses the whip lock as a weapon. Call on hold. Jarvis, find his place. Then he started talking to the other party again, stalling for time. Stark's family history will be rewritten by me. Ivan Vanki didn't seem to notice anything, still declaring his hatred engraved in his bones. What your father did to my family in 40 years, I will do it to you in 40 minutes. Ivan Vanki is already making a declaration of victory. Sounds good, we can talk about the details. Tony tried his best to buy time, the position has been locked roughly. I hope you are ready. Yin Chi-Chi's words came from the phone, revealing endless killing intent. The phone hangs up and the tracking is not completed. Just know the signal is around Manhattan. Manhattan. What is he doing in Manhattan? Just when he was thinking, he accidentally left an invitation letter in the trash can. Hammer Industries. Military Expo. He picked up the invitation, which was also engraved with a portrait of Justin Hammer in small print. Defend the peace. That idiot, Justin, wouldn't do such a stupid thing. With Stark's wisdom, after just a little thought, he already understood what happened. No, just based on Justin's IQ, he would definitely do such a thing. This damn B**************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** just risen, but it was quenched by a chill in his heart. I'm already dying, so I don't care what to do. Come and seek revenge on yourself, at least it's more respectable than dying from poisoning. Jarvis, turn on the TV. With an empty heart, he can only find a little satisfaction by watching TV. As a result, the military exposition was also broadcast on TV. Just when he wanted to change the channel, the information inside caught his attention. The military exposition hosted by Justin Hammer has already started in the afternoon, and the true face of the so-called epic-making weapon will soon be revealed. The world's richest man Yi Han, Marine Admiral Edward. Those others, Stark didn't care. But he heard a name, Yi Han. He was also at the fair. Jarvis, assemble the armor, we're going out. Looking at Yi Han's name, Stark sighed. Before you helped me stabilize the company, this time I owe you. That's when Stark targeted the exposition. The military industry exposition finally drew a climax. Everyone is waiting to see who Justin says is the epic-making invention. Especially those at the top of the military. They had an initial understanding long before the other party came, and now they are finally going to see the real thing. But unlike the enthusiasm of the audience at the venue, Ivan Vanke watched all this indifferently in the background. A bunch of pathetic guys. Everyone in the venue, in his opinion, is already dead man. Their blood and lives will become the testimony of their own right to the family name. Especially this guy. He looked at the sissy speaking on stage. Thinking that he can control the great Ivan Vanke, this joker has to pay for his own behavior. What Ivan Vanke hates most is Iron Man, followed by Justin Hammer, who gave him a chance. And Justin hadn't noticed the threat behind him, and was still speaking arrogantly. I've said everything I need to say, and now I'd like to introduce to you the new face of the military's future, Hammer Steel Soldiers. Military music played and lights flickered. 32 steel robots in 8 rows appeared in front of everyone. More than 2 meters tall, covered with heavy armor plates, armed to the teeth. Some also have missile launchers installed on them, and the firepower must be rapid. It looks like a war killer, icy and terrifying. The scene boils over and the flash is constantly on. The reporters are going crazy, this is their carnival. Tomorrow's news, it must be Justin and his Iron Legion. He's going to be a bigger talking point than Iron Man. Some forces present also began to panic over Justin's strength. Black Widow's face was heavy, and a powerful force like the US Imperial Military Master was not friendly to the world's situation. Those who compete with Justin for market share in the military industry are sweating even more. How can they compete? Only Yi Han felt bored in the box, such a scene was too boring. He even had the urge to leave. Well, that's not all. With the appearance of Colonel Rhodes, the scene almost became white-hot. Until a bright red meteor struck from the sky. Gorgeously landed on the stage, attracting all the style to the past. How Iron Man's Sao Bao appears. The dying Iron Man is still Iron Man. Yi Han just opened some eyes, and finally something to see. Ivan Vanke in the backstage also looked at Iron Man excitedly. You're finally here. With that said, all the mechanical soldiers, as well as the control panel of the war machine, suddenly turned red. The muzzle and the barrel are pointed at Iron Man. 17. Wolverine's roar. The boss is dangerous, I won't pretend. The volley of artillery shells, even if Iron Man dodged quickly, still took a lot of ammunition. Fortunately, the power of his ex-wife was average, so he didn't make an instant sacrifice. I'm messing with FAC. What are you doing, Rhodes? Colonel Rhodes was trying his best to control the armor, but there was absolutely nothing he could do. My battle armor has been controlled, pay attention to avoid it. Iron Man dropped a sentence. You don't need to say it, and flew directly into the sky. In the sky, the space in which he can dodge becomes much larger. Those Iron soldiers were also equipped with thrusters, and 8 Iron Airmen chased after Iron Man. But the rest stayed at the venue. Under the control of Ivan Vanke, the missiles were shot into the crowd. There were a lot of people in the venue, and most of them were celebrities and rich people. As a result, under the threat of their lives, they lost all manners. At the exit, all the people are stuck there. The Iron soldiers directly opened their own missile launchers, which did not require aiming at all, and each shot could cause a large number of casualties. Then came a series of machine gun fire. Although not as good as the visual effect caused by the missile, the harvesting effect is far better than that of the ex-wife missile. The people who came to the exhibition were crying. Human life did not inspire their rationality, and they entered and exited rationally, but instead caused even greater chaos. Stampede kills no less than missiles and machine guns. In less than a while, Ivan Vanke had already killed half of it. Ivan Vanke laughed recklessly. He's here to explode, both to take revenge on the B*********** D Iron Man, and on this bad country. This kingdom that has wronged its father should be completely destroyed. But after laughing for a while, Ivan Vanki turned his attention to the booths and private rooms. These headless flies are just appetizers, these people are the meal. Under the inducement of OWN, that idiot Justin actually invited so many powerful people. There are even 2 generals, and there are as many as 7 vice admiral. It seems that Yi Han, the world's richest man, is also here. As long as they are all killed, the foundation of this country will be shaken. Several steel soldiers were separated out to deal with the people in the private room. Yi Han looked at the scene outside. Although he had seen it many times in the movie theater before, it was better to watch it here. It was the most visually impactful scene. At this moment, a steel warrior blocked Yi Han's eyes, completely filling his sight. Yi Han sighed. I came here entirely with the mentality of watching a play, why do things still find me? Are there not enough people out there for you to kill? The interest that finally appeared was destroyed by this steel warrior. The missile launcher on the shoulder of the Iron Warrior started to operate, and the target was Yi Han, who was in a bad mood. Before the missile could be launched, Yi Han slapped the Iron Warrior out with a wave of his hand like a fly. Mechanical creations of this level did not pose any threat to Yi Han. Even Yi Han didn't even think about punching. Although a little careless, Yi Han's physical fitness has been effectively exercised. The palm of the hand swiped through the air, and the sound of breaking the air like a silk was heard. The speed is so fast that even the high-speed cameras of the Iron Soldiers can't record it. But it's just a ordinary wave that makes this steel soldier completely scrapped. The sturdy armor cracked and fell off, and the limb joints were completely twisted and broken. Those internal parts were also damaged by the shock. Even if Yi Han didn't take a serious shot, it still couldn't withstand such an impact. In an instant, the Cold War killer turned into a scrap of iron that no one wanted. Ivan Vanki discovered that a steel soldier had lost contact. In that instant, he didn't react, and the Iron Soldier was destroyed. With such a strong power as a guard, it seems that these powerful people cannot be underestimated. Ivan Vanki sent 5 more Iron Soldiers again. These steel soldiers were carefully crafted by him. Each one uses the best materials, the best hardware and software, except that his ex-wife missile made him not very satisfied. The chances are perfect. The opponent can solve a steel soldier, but under the siege of a group of steel soldiers, he will definitely be punished. Ivan Vanki is full of confidence in his own creations. Then, the 5 Iron Warriors lost contact in an instant. This is the case. Ivan Vanki's eyelids suddenly jumped up. Who the hell is there? Who can kill my 5 steel soldiers in an instant? He glanced at the fleeing crowd. After half of the number was killed by the steel soldiers, the rest basically fled the venue. Immediately mobilized all the remaining steel soldiers, he also put on the whip chain armor and flew towards the direction where the soldiers were eliminated. A few kilometers away, Iron Man was also fighting with the pursuers behind him, or was unilaterally beaten. He still hasn't found a reactor with pure energy, and the combat power and endurance ability are not enough to support the counterattack. You can only fly constantly through Manhattan, using those buildings to temporarily escape the pursuit. Because the Iron Soldiers and War Machine were controlled, they did not consider accidental injury at all, and many people were sent to heaven by scattered machine guns. All the vehicles and pedestrians are avoiding them, fleeing away from the fair. But there is one car that is still thinking about driving to a place where others can't hide. The driver stuck his head out and looked at the sky where the battle was fierce, and it was Wolverine who rushed back to pick up Yi Han. The chaos above wasn't enough to frighten him. The direction they're flying from, oops. Wolverine glanced at the direction they were flying from, and was instantly anxious. It seems that these Iron Men are coming from the direction of the expo, and there are still explosions there. Something must have happened. He immediately stepped up the accelerator, and regardless of the vehicles blocking the road, he swiftly headed for the expo. The surrounding cars could see that this was a lifeless person and avoided them one after another, but in this case, the body was constantly rubbing and hitting. But Wolverine still hasn't slowed down a bit. Unfortunately, even this does not change the problem of traffic jams. Damn it! Wolverine slammed the steering wheel angrily and cursed loudly. Not only is he scolding the road, but he is also scolding himself. He originally thought that nothing happened and left the venue, but he didn't expect such a thing to happen. If something happens to the boss, then it's all your own responsibility. Looking at the intensity of the fight, I'm afraid it won't be much better in the exposition. Wolverine now regrets why she left. Threatening Nick Fury, Ghost Rider is enough, go and join in the fun. In a hurry, Wolverine kicked the car door directly. If the car can't be used, then run over with your legs. There was really no way forward, and he jumped over the roofs of the cars. With his claws fully extended, he was ready to reveal his identity. The boss can't have an accident. This time the problem was with me. The big deal is that I will continue to wander in the future, but also to ensure the safety of the boss. 18. The final battle. Where did it go? In the control center. Those defending this place have fallen to the ground. A red-haired stunner was sitting in front of the control system, manipulating the platform panel, where Iron Man's face appeared on the side of the platform. Isn't it lifted yet? I'm not joking this time. If I don't lift it, I will be smashed to pieces. His condition is really bad. It has now flown to a canyon, and there is no shelter around it, and its form is precarious. If it weren't for his excellent skills in driving battle suits, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to survive now. Okay, the control of the war machine is complete. Just as Iron Man urged, Black Widow finally touched the control of the war machine. The war machine, which was still chasing Iron Man just now, successfully reversed the water and killed an Iron Warrior closest to him. Welcome back. How does it feel to be a villain? Iron Man, who has no pressure, is joking again. War Machine didn't respond to him at all, and the feeling of being controlled made him very uncomfortable. The two cooperated with each other, and finally they were able to show their true strength and successfully gained the upper hand. Just when Iron Man was excited, Black Widow poured him a ladle of cold water. Sheet. It seems that the other party has discovered it, and the system has been completely locked. Moreover, the other party has also issued an assembly order. It should be going to you, get ready. At this moment, in front of her, the control panel that was supposed to be blue turned dangerous red. You can only see what order the other party has issued, but you have no right to change it. Ivan Vanki is mobilizing those Iron Soldiers. Who else can they be except to target Iron Man? Tony. You need to get ready. The Iron Soldiers are indeed gathering. Those Army Iron Soldiers who wantonly slaughtered, the remaining Marine Iron Soldiers, and the Marine Corps Iron Soldiers as a reserve force are all on their way to assemble. It's a pity that the target of the gathering is not Iron Man, but the exposition that everyone can't avoid. In the private room area of the expo, there was no one else except Yi Han. Either killed by those Steel Soldiers, or have fled. Seeing more and more Steel Soldiers around, Yi Han couldn't help frowning. This time I really didn't want to do anything, just watch a play and pass the time. The result was inexplicably targeted by the other party. In fact, Yi Han has no superfluous views on Ivan Vanki. This is an antisocial lunatic, and he is not willing to have the same knowledge as a lunatic. Even if he kills a lot of people, these people are still the backbone of society, and they are likely to disrupt the stable order and make American imperial society go backwards. But what does this have to do with Yi Han? It can't affect Yi Han's life. However, Ivan Vanki seemed to have a problem. He had to lead a group of Steel Soldiers to dangle in front of himself. Do you really think he won't be angry? Ivan Vanki also looked a little surprised at Yi Han in front of him. Although Yi Han's figure is also very predictable, he belongs to the slender type. Now wearing a slim white suit, the appearance can only be described as elegant. But in the eyes of Ivan Vanki, this is the figure of the weak. Such a weak body, and there is no steel battle suit, it is absolutely impossible to defeat own Steel Soldiers. Are there other people nearby? Or that this person has a powerful weapon? Having never seen mutants' ability or the power of a god, Ivan Vanki is like a child in a village, and his eyes are not open at all. This is the fact that no matter how high his IQ is, it cannot be changed. You can only use your own barren thinking to define everything in front of you. It's a pity that some things can't be judged by routine. For example, he doesn't know how high the upper limit of this world is, and he doesn't know that there are countless secrets hidden even on the earth. It is even more impossible to know that Yi Han's strength is not something he can estimate. Are you here to protect these people? Give it up. How can human flesh and blood be comparable to machinery? Although he didn't quite believe in Yi Han's strength, he didn't plan to fight unprepared. So the Iron Warriors raised their machine guns and the missile launchers started aiming. Those high-ranking officials and wealthy people nearby have already started to flee under the escort of bodyguards, and they must deal with each other as soon as possible. He had a good idea, but unfortunately he chose the wrong person. No one likes being pointed at a gun, not even Yi Han. Ivan Vanki didn't notice Yi Han's expression, and ordered the shooting directly. Facing himself, Yi Han's eyes were only indifference. Such a gesture made Ivan Vanki a little angry. You can scold him, you can hate him, but you can't ignore him. No matter what backhand you are hiding, there is a price to pay for your actions. Shoot them all. The machine gun began to turn, and a large number of bullet casings fell like raindrops, and the bullets tinkled on the ground. The ex-wife's missile was also fired into the house where Yi Han was. The missile expanded and exploded, and the private room turned into a ruin in an instant. None of those fleeing looked back, and the loud noise urged them to run faster. The gunfire faded away, and the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Ivan Vanki's anger also dissipated a lot. No matter who you are, disturbing my plan, then you can only be killed. After that, he turned on the thermal scanning device, making sure that death was a good habit. Cold sweat appeared in an instant. There is no Yi Han's thermal energy in the ruins. Even if a person dies, the person's thermal energy remains for a period of time, unlike the rapid dissipation of thermal energy after a missile explodes. That guy is not dead. Ivan Vanki hurriedly looked around and finally found the trace of Yi Han. At the highest end of the building, where he also needed to look up, Yi Han stood there looking down at him. The suit on his body was still spotless, without a single fold. When did this man go up? With such a strong firepower coverage, there was no damage at all. Seeing this, Ivan Vanki's heart suddenly began to panic. He is a scientist who likes to use science to answer everything. But the current situation, this is not scientific. No, this person's strength is definitely beyond my estimation, and all the steel soldiers must be assembled. Ivan Vanki, who was frightened by Yi Han, also summoned the Iron Soldiers who attacked Iron Man. Although revenge is important, life-saving is more important. Iron Man at the moment is training these computer-controlled iron bumps with the Iron Warriors. With the cooperation of the two more steel soldiers were shot down, and now there are only 5 left on the opposite side. The two became more and more at ease, but the assembled steel warriors have always been a heavy stone in their hearts. But in the next instant, these steel warriors suddenly changed direction and went into the distance. How is this going? Iron Man asked Black Widow, and his strange behavior made him even more uneasy. Be careful, this is the tranquility before the big waves. Black Widow looked at the assembly instructions on the panel and gave this answer. 19. Black Widow. All the Iron Soldiers, all disappeared. Iron Man and War Machine waited for each other in the canyon. Although the enemy's troops were too large, it was difficult for them to resist each other's attack. But neither chose to escape. Iron Man took a peek at the same War Machine. Own life has entered the countdown. At the last moment, sacrifice yourself. But while the two were waiting, the steel soldiers had already rushed back to the venue. More than 24 steel soldiers, together with Ivan Vanki who had already launched into the air, began to spread out and surrounded Yi Han from all angles. If there are no extra words, all the steel soldiers are venting their firepower at this moment. Ivan Vanki didn't dare to speak anymore. All he wanted to think about was, kill this weird man quickly. The muzzle was sprayed with ammunition, and the bullets swept in like a metal storm. Those steel soldiers carrying missiles no longer kept their hands, and sent all the missiles out in an instant. Such power is already comparable to the sum of an aircraft carrier fleet. Even Ivan Vanki himself trembled with excitement for his own creation. No one can survive such an attack. But in the face of such an attack, Yi Han didn't move, still standing in the hail of bullets. Looking at the gunfire that kept appearing, it was as indifferent as viewing flowers. Did he give up resistance? Just when Ivan Vanki thought that Yi Han had destroyed his confidence by such an attack, Yi Han finally made his move. Before the first bullet touched the clothes, Yi Han punched out. In order to ensure that the clothes would not be damaged, he used a little more strength. Diffusing power emerged from his fists, rushing around like ripples. Those ammunition had already been destroyed the moment they came into contact with the power. But the energy generated by their explosions was also in the ranks of Yi Han's fist strength destruction. The vigorous energy completely pressed down the explosive energy and consumed it. The explosive beauty that Ivan Vanki envisioned had no chance of appearing at all, so it was eliminated from invisible. Yi Han patted the clothes. This suit suits him very well, but it can't be damaged by these ammunition. Not bad, no damage at all. These steel soldiers and even Ivan Vanki are not as important as a piece of clothing in his heart. Ivan Vanki's eyelids jumped. Did you just look over your eyes? Or is it all just a dream? His three views were completely destroyed by Yi Han's punch. If he just evaded, or took over these attacks, he could also find some explanations. But what if even an explosion can destroy it? From the surface of the body cold to the depths of the heart. The fear of death immediately suppressed his madness. Quick setting, all the steel warriors rushed towards Yi Han. These were originally regarded as hearts and souls by him, destroying a mechanical creation that would be distressed, but now he has given up. Destroy them as much as possible, as long as you give yourself a chance to escape. But before he could turn around, Yi Han punched again, completely destroying his plan. Power gushed out of the fist, and all the steel soldiers were washed away at this moment. The armor of steel soldiers is made of special alloys. These alloys are also scarce materials in the aerospace industry. Justin made great efforts to find some for this fair. Relying on these alloy armors, the strength of the Iron Warrior can resist the attack of a medium tank within 10 rounds without injury. The internal structure is also a low-density composite mesh structure, which is very good in compression and unloading. But that's it, they're all ruined too. Not one, but all. Even in an instant, these steel warriors have been completely destroyed. The armor has been completely destroyed, and the internal structure has been completely disintegrated. There is a limit to how well it can withstand pressure. The power of Yi Han's punch is obviously stronger than their upper limit. All the steel soldiers in the sky began to fall to the ground, and the ground also fell directly. Every sound of heavy objects falling to the ground made Ivan Vanki's heart tremble. He wants to say something. But he felt the words stuck in his throat and couldn't get out. The steel soldier that he made with all his effort was actually so vulnerable in front of the opponent. His life's perseverance was also destroyed by Yi Han's fist. Let me go, I can. In order to survive, he also wanted to show his own value. Unlike Justin, he really wants to surrender now. Yi Han's strength completely suppressed his arrogance. And with such a powerful person protecting him, it would be easier for him to seek revenge on Iron Man. Yi Han didn't give him a chance to beg for mercy. Any punch. Huge amounts of force came out from Yi Han's hands and passed to the opponent's whole body. From the whip chain armor, to his muscles, bones and even most of his nerves. All suffered irreversible damage. The armor shattered, and all the internal parts and instruments scattered and splashed out under the action of huge amounts of force, and even Ivan Vanki's body was inlaid with a lot. He was already lying on the ground, unable to move. With most of his nerves damaged, he couldn't even control his eyelids freely. Waiting for death to arrive in such a situation is far more painful than dying directly. Yi Han understood what Ivan Vanki wanted to say, but he didn't want to listen. If everyone deliberately gave himself a few shots and surrendered to his own command, what would he become? Having settled everything, Yi Han walked towards the gate. This iron lump is really hard to remove, it took a lot of time. Damn it. Before Yi Han walked out of the door, he heard a sharp sound of metal being cut, and it was accompanied by murderous scolding. Wolverine ran all the way, but did not expect to meet the assembled army steel soldiers at the door. Wolverine, who doesn't know the reason, can also see that this robot is the culprit. After some fighting, Wolverine managed to break the opponent into pieces. Yi Han's words immediately attracted Wolverine's attention. "Boss, are you okay?" Seeing Yi Han strolling out of the gate, he happily ran over. Nothing happened to the boss. Really lucky in misfortune. But just after 2 steps, he immediately put his hands behind him. His claws were still exposed when they began to retract. Very dangerous, almost exposed at the boss. He was a little bit content with the time to get rid of the robot, and if it took an extra second, he might be exposed. Today's military expo is really interesting, go back. Taking a meaningful look at Wolverine, Yi Han said with a smile. Wolverine immediately escorted Yi Han to the place where he parked. It was not known whether there was any danger nearby, and he had to be prepared. As for what happened in the exhibition, he didn't care at all. Now, he's just a driver. He doesn't care, but someone cares. Black Widow is constantly pounding the keyboard, deciphering the system. But Ivan Vanki's level of electronic information is significantly higher than hers. But she still didn't give up. Iron Man and War Machine's lives are in their own hands, never give up. Under such heavy pressure, even if she was a senior agent, there was still a lot of fine sweat on her nose. But when she raised her head and observed the movements of those robots. Black Widow. Huh. I mess with fake. 20. Is there Yi Han on the invite list? Things make more sense. In the canyon, Iron Man and War Machine fought back to back, leaving the back to each other with confidence. No one spoke, all nervously adjusting the state of the steel battle suit. All the strength of the opponent is gathering, and waiting for them will be an unprecedented hard battle. The wind blew through the 2 armors, and the dead leaves fell with them. A sense of desolation has lingered around them. If you can't beat you in a while, go first, don't worry about me. Iron Man finally couldn't help but speak. Why? Just because you're Iron Man and I'm just a normal guy in your battle suit. War Machine's words were sharp and sarcastic. But Iron Man knew that it was the other party taking a stand for himself. Fight to the death. Do not return. Listen to me this time. I have a solution. Iron Man didn't want his best friend to know that he was dying. As for his method, it is naturally the reactor in his chest. This is not only the source of the source, but also the strongest weapon on his body. As long as it is activated, the entire canyon will be destroyed. It was the last thing he could do for War Machine. Just as the 2 started arguing, Black Widow joined the group chat. You all give me peace, all the Iron Warriors have lost contact. The 2 who were arguing just now were silent for a while. Wait until Iron Man and War Machine come to the expo. Black Widow was already standing among the wreckage of that place. Although so many people died, Iron Man's heart was full of anger. But it was the destroyed steel soldiers that shocked him. Oh, my God. What's going on here? Looking at these iron soldiers, Iron Man's heart did not have the slightest joy, but only shock and a little fear. He has seen the combat effectiveness of these steel soldiers, as long as a few combat effectiveness is not lost to himself. But here, just a cursory glance, there are no less than 20. And what is the extent of this fragmentation? After his scanning, the density of these parts has changed. How much impact is required to cause such a situation? Was this a head-on hit by a particle hedging instrument? Still more than 20 were hit together. For the first time, Iron Man felt that his own head was not enough. Don't ask me, I just came here, you are the expert in this area. Shocked by the sight in front of him, Natasha Romanoff can no longer scruple his own image. She had seen the fighting power of these steel soldiers with her own eyes. That kind of amazing fighting power made her feel frightened. Even thinking about how to get the technology in it. If it cannot be obtained, then it must be destroyed, and must not be left in the hands of others. Now things are resolved. Instead of being resolved, her fears became even bigger. She and Iron Man are smart people, but smart people like to think too much. In my own brain supplement, everything that happened here and the mysterious character who appeared have been demonized. Come and see. Ivan Vanki is here. When War Machine detected it, it discovered Vanki. He lay among the corpses, looking up at the sky. Iron Man gasped at the first glance at the other party. There are a lot of debris scattered around Vanki, which seems to be a steel battle suit. Although he was unhappy with Vanki, Iron Man still acknowledged the opponent's ability in his heart. The battle suit carefully crafted by the opponent is absolutely impossible to be ordinary. But it is such a battle suit, and now it is completely tattered. And what surprised Iron Man the most was that Vanki was still alive. It is impossible to immune to death Vanki to be able to smash the battle armor. Then it means that the other party did it on purpose. For the control of power, the opponent is definitely the top level. The three of them checked, and their hearts became very heavy. This time the harm has been resolved, but what will happen next time? If nothing else, if the person who killed Vanki wants to do something, can they stop it? Looking at everything in front of them, they already have results in their hearts. After waiting for the three to survey the scene, both War Machine and Black Widow began to contact the organizations behind them. What happened at the Military Industry Expo? Ivan Vanki has been eliminated. It is impossible to determine who did it, but it can be confirmed that the strength is very strong. The specific situation is. Hearing Black Widow's description, Nick Fury raised his forehead. Even if the city government is like him, he feels tired because of this series of things. Things have progressed in the Arctic, but they have been inseparable. After finally reaching an agreement with the people in Penglai building, and having some time for myself, this kind of thing happened again. Just listening to the description, you can see that things are not easy. The damn world. Can't you be more peaceful? Wait a moment. Nick Fury's brain suddenly felt like a shock. It seems that Yi Han is on the invitation list for this fair today. Without asking Black Widow, he directly searched the admission list of the admission exposition, which couldn't be easier for a spy chief. Sure enough, he found the news he wanted. I knew it. How can there be so many strong people in New York? If it's Yi Han, it's easy to explain. After getting such a result, his heart dropped a lot. After all, Yi Han and the others have done nothing to harm New York. I see, you don't need to investigate this matter, I will arrange it myself, just come back as soon as possible. Knowing that the source of the matter was Yi Han, he immediately interrupted Black Widow's request to continue the investigation. Whether it's because of Penglai's strength or because of the cooperation agreement just reached, he doesn't intend to entangle in this aspect. The call hung up, and Black Widow looked at the phone strangely. She knows what kind of person Nick Fury is. Even if it was a fart, he would have to go up and smell if there was any conspiracy. Now that such a big thing is placed in front of him, he is actually unmoved. This is absolutely not normal. But even if she has an idea in her heart, she will not make her own decisions, because such agents are already dead. Confused, he looked at the other two. War Machine has also communicated with the military. You have all finished reporting, then I will report to those Victoria's Secret treasures. Iron Man knew that they had to wait until their own forces came. Find a reason to leave here. At the last moment, he still wanted to be alone. He wanted to go the most now, but it was the place he was most tired of. Stark Company, his office. It's my own office here, it's better to say it's my secretary's studio. Too bad she's not here now. With a little regret, he browsed these familiar things. Until he saw a huge amount of city model. Father. At this moment, his heart also touched a little more. Under the tears, those buildings became blurred, but this allowed him to stop paying attention to the details. The whole city forms a hole in his eyes. It seems that I can still live. 21. Banner joins the job and rewards Pig Man for his martial arts specialization. The next day, Yi Han still slept until he woke up naturally. What happened last night had no effect on him at all. The size of the Penglai building is too large, and even people are fired every day, and people are hired every day. However, most of them are ordinary people, and the rewards given are optional. So Yi-Han didn't care too much either. But now, there is an entry information that stands out from the crowd, among those ordinary people's entry information. Mark Weir becomes your employee and gets rewarded, 100% sure to hit the fishing rod. May Parker became your employee and was rewarded with $5 million. Bruce Banner Hulk becomes your employee and gets the reward, Pigman's martial arts specialization. John Wood became your employee and was rewarded with the wooden sword of Dugu. One of the messages entered Yi-Han's line of sight. Bruce Banner. How did the Hulk join his own company? After being knocked unconscious by himself, he was lucky not to be captured by the military. However, he didn't care too much about Banner. Since he joined, he was a normal employee. He should be given nothing less, but there will be no special treatment either. But the rewards he brought are really good. Pig Man's martial arts specialization. Don't look at Pig Man as a joke, but the essence of his master's martial arts is beyond the imagination of others. As long as it is martial arts, there may be no Pig Man who can't. Although Yi-Han has a peak body, he doesn't have the skills to respond. Every time I encounter those annoying guys, I can only punch simply and rudely. This results in the use of too much energy. For these people who affect his life, he doesn't even want to put more effort into it. Now there is Pig Man's martial arts specialization. He will be able to control the power to the ultimate. This ultimate is not as simple as playing 100% of its power. But to use a part of the force, play a very effective effect. This is the strength of Oriental martial arts, and it is also the reason why Pig Man can run amok in the world. After absorbing all of these, the essence of various martial arts was immediately understood by Yi-Han. Between the gestures, there was a verve that had never been seen before. The spirit of the whole person has also changed a little bit. Having obtained a good ability, Yi-Han also feels that his mood has improved a lot. The provider of the entry reward is not happy at the moment. Bruce Banner is currently in the research center inside the Penglai building. Although it is only a building, because there are too many subsidiaries below, it can only be in some related areas in the headquarters and the company. This laboratory is one of them. To enter the company, of course, you have to choose the job you are best at. So, he became the assistant of the leader of a large-scale physics class project. After all, he didn't want to be noticed by others. Ruffalo, what are you doing? Don't you see that the nature transformation has occurred? At this moment, a roar sounded, and it was the leader of the project who saw that Banner was deserting. Ruffalo was the pseudonym he had used when he came in. Hearing the scolding, Banner hurriedly did what he was supposed to do. Fortunately, this nature stage has existed for a long time, so there is no problem. I don't know who recruited you, a degree in nuclear physics. I suspect he never even went to school. The leader looked at Banner, who couldn't keep up with the rhythm of the project, and couldn't help sneering. It looked like he was talking to himself, but his voice didn't drop a bit. He just wanted to tell Banner. After all, this stupid guy looks like he came in through the back door. If he leaves it alone, he will lose the interests of the company. Even if he was given a completely unimportant position, he had to be honest. Banner smiled and apologized to the others, but there was only bitterness in his heart. I definitely have a degree in nuclear physics, and there are 6 more. It's a pity that Hulk doesn't have one, and he's still going crazy in his brain. Hulk has been quiet for a while since coming into close contact with Yi-Han. He also took advantage of this opportunity to successfully enter the company with his own hard power. But now, Hulk is a little out of control, screaming in his body, seriously affecting his work and life. But he couldn't explain it, he could only try to suppress the other party. Be quiet, I don't want to be angry with you. Since being able to see Hulk in his mind, Banner has been trying to communicate with him. Now the results are finally here. However, the mental effort consumed by talking is more than 10 large-scale experiments. Hulk. Angry. All the time. Banner. Bad. After the two of them were able to see each other emotionally, Hulk's IQ clearly started to increase. Already able to speak, although it's a bit confusing, but at least the content can be understood by Banner. Banner is not bad, Hulk is bad. Don't disturb me, did you hear me? Banner shouted loudly in his head like he was reprimanding a disobedient child. Just as he said this, Hulk suddenly huddled together in his mind and stopped disturbing him. Comfortable. This feeling of having no burden on the brain and being able to think freely makes Banner feel comfortable from the bottom of his heart. But then, he had new doubts. Is Hulk being scolded like this by himself? But he has said anything worse than this, and it is completely useless. Just when he couldn't think clearly, Yi-Han walked past him accompanied by many people. This is one of our scientific and technological laboratories. It mainly studies some physical projects. The investment is large, but the profit return is also large. Mystique was excited to introduce the laboratory to Yi-Han. Taking advantage of the good mood of the boss today, I specially invited him to inspect the company together, but I didn't expect to get the approval. Did you find that? Thinking of this, Mystique's face flushed. Now she's wearing an OL outfit so she can't see it, but as long as she takes off her coat, she can see a touch of red inside through the white shirt. This was a surprise she gave Yi-Han. When I was in the office, I deliberately took off my coat, but the boss didn't respond at all. She thought she hadn't found it. Now it seems that the boss still has me in his heart. Thinking of this, Mystique was even more excited. I can handle everything inside the company, but there will always be some disclosures in those companies outside. I will visit after a while. Boss, do you want to relax? With eager eyes, she kept staring at Yi-Han. Then go out and play. New York life has been a long time, and I really want to go out and play. Mystique's suggestion won his heart. Success. A two-person world with the boss. After getting Yi-Han's reply, Mystique's heart beat faster. When Yi-Han walked out of the research institute, Banner withdrew his gaze. Sure enough, I guessed right, I can get rid of Hulk by getting close to the boss. 22. Iron Man. In front of Yi-Han, I just got out of poverty. SHIELD New York branch. Alexander Pierce is holding his hands behind his back, looking at the inspection work in front of him. The items inspected were the ones left behind in the place where Hulk disappeared. He didn't care about this matter at first, but Nick Fury forced the order a day ago to seal all these items. The point is that there is no reason. As Nick Fury's old comrade in arms, I have observed each other's Hydra for decades. He definitely knew that this should never be an order from Nick Fury. There's definitely something in there that you don't know. And this thing that can force Nick Fury to compromise is likely to become his own help. So after Nick Fury left New York for the North Pole, he quickly took over the project and resumed the investigation. But didn't find any useful information from it. There was only some blood, which seemed to flow from the monster the military wanted to capture, but this blood was too aggressive to be used at all. Is it just because there's no information in it that Nick Fury wants to seal them off? Pierce always felt like he was missing something. Just when he was thinking, he suddenly heard a Hydra complain. This car is a limited edition. There are 7 cars in the world. I didn't expect one to be destroyed here. It's a pity that the material has been specially modified. This Hydra is usually a car enthusiast and knows everything about the car. He really felt sorry for the car, that's why he said these words. What did you just say? Pierce asked suddenly and loudly, making the other party startle. Hi, Hydra. I shouldn't be thinking about other things at work, please punish me. Hydra's mental imprisonment made him admit his mistake immediately and take the initiative to ask for punishment. But the punishment he imagined didn't come, instead he got an admiring look from Pierce. Although this information is small, it has opened up new ideas for Pierce, who has never found a breakthrough direction. He doesn't belong to Nick Fury when it comes to this kind of detail. I will conduct a comprehensive tracking search for this car. I want to know the movement of each car, and the parts are not allowed to be missed. Search through the number above. With the goal, the work efficiency of SHIELD is immediately apparent. Pierce does not need to divide specific jobs, just make a request, and everyone will find their own job position. Within moments, the owners of all 7 cars were searched. These cars are bought by the top rich people all over the world. There is only one in New York and it is registered in the name of Yi Han of Penglai Holdings, but this car has not been seen recently. A Hydra passed this information to Pierce. By tracking these equipment, it has been determined that they were all purchased by Penglai Holdings. Yet another Hydra has gathered useful intelligence. It even more directly showed that this car was Yi Han's car. Yi Han. Nick Fury did haunt his company a while ago. In just a split second, he thought of Nick Fury's movements. The world's rich seem to have a lot of secrets. Is that why Nick Fury chooses to back down? All the recent orders from Nick Fury were immediately called up. He's far better than Nick Fury in terms of SHIELD's control. The more he looked at him, the more shocked he became. Nick Fury stopped more than a dozen investigative projects during this period, and they stopped for no reason. These survey items may seem a bit complicated, but he still finds the same thing. Yi Han, or Penglai. As long as there are projects related to these 2 words, they will all be sealed. Such a result made him curious about Yi Han. Nick Fury is a stinky and hard rock. No one's face will be given, no one will be threatened. It will not be easy for him to cancel these investigations. But the other party has done it now. And Nick Fury really didn't play any tricks. This is not like what his old friend would do. No one is allowed to disclose this matter to the outside world. Seal these things up, and don't let others find the problem. Thinking of this, he immediately started arranging to restore the items back. Whatever the reason for Nick Fury, it must have been under a lot of pressure. Then you can't take it lightly. But the most important thing now is to investigate the specific situation of Yi Han. There is too little information to make a plan for anything at all. Although the identity and power of Yi Han could not be determined yet, it did not prevent him from using Yi Han as an imaginary enemy. Necessary information collection, and a comprehensive solution plan, are required. At this moment, Yi Han didn't know that someone wanted to explore his secret again. He was stroking his cat, listening to the uninvited Tony again bragging about his own new energy plan. Yi. Look at my body has fully recovered, look at my bulging muscles, don't you look like a guy in his 20s? Stark patted his chest, completely lost the previous decadent aura, and radiated new vitality. He was in his 40s, he was not as calm as Yi Han. However, it is normal to be reborn from the dead. The newly made reactor, instead of polluting his body, absorbed all the palladium in his body. Now he is relaxed. But Yi Han didn't even look at him and kept teasing Yumi. Let him be boring, he can only say his main purpose. Such pure and clean energy must be the mainstream in the future, but as you know my situation, in order to build the Iron Man battle suit, I haven't slowed down yet. See if you can add a little more investment to our company. As long as the new energy is deployed in full time, the monthly net profit can reach more than 10 billion. Iron Man spoke enthusiastically about his own business plan. By the way, I asked Yi Han to make some additional investments. He didn't want to add other people to this plan, but Yi Han had no problem. In Stark Industry, Yi Han has invested heavily. Even if you inject some capital, it will not have a negative impact. You can talk to Raven about these businesses. In terms of business, he has basically entrusted Mystique to handle it. In terms of money, he doesn't need to worry about it. As long as this business is well established, the monthly net profit will be more than 10 billion yuan. She can't be the master. For Mystique, Iron Man thought it was the same as his own chili peppers. It's just the job of the CEO, and it's up to you to decide. Boss, this month's earnings report has come out, with a profit of 720 billion, an increase of 220 billion over last month. Just as Iron Man was talking about the industry's prospects, Mystique handed Yi Han this month's financial statement. Yi Han glanced casually. You can do it, don't show it to me. There is a special inspection and supervision department, and there is no need to do it yourself. Iron Man. Can I take back what I just said? 23. SHIELD threatens the military, you can't move Penglai. Mystique never liked Iron Man. It's okay to come here if you have nothing to worry about, and even let the danger implicate the boss. If he hadn't provoked that Ivan Vanki, last night wouldn't have been so thrilling. When Wolverine told them about it, she literally broke out in a sweat. As a result, this guy came over like no one today. Looking at him makes Mystique feel upset. Bring the plan here, Mystique said to Stark coldly. She should have a lot of investment. After all, no matter how annoying Stark is, money is still cute. It is also her job to bring more benefits to Yi-Han. But have a good face for Stark. Absolutely impossible. Right here, Stark Industries is not my business alone, it's a win-win. Stark smiled and handed Mystique a proposal. He could see that Mystique was dissatisfied with Own, not stupid after all. But he still had the right smile, he was Yi-Han's secretary after all. And judging from the money that the other party can control, I am afraid that it is also the kind of secretary who is on call 24 hours a day. Best not to mess with it. To be able to get a large investment, that's enough. After handing over the proposal to Mystique, he wanted to continue chatting with Yi-Han for a while. Although he came here often, the chance to see Yi-Han was not very big. I definitely have to seize the opportunity. Maybe I can get another investment. As a result, Mystique strictly guarded him, that is, he was not allowed to contact Yi-Han. Toward Stark, in Mystique's eyes, is a virus, and he must not be too close to the boss. Who knows if the other party will cause any trouble. A military forbidden area. General Ross was looking at a weirdo who was frantically scanning the surveillance cameras. The head can actually be 8 times larger than other people's. Looking at the monitoring, there are also 18 screens, playing at 32 times the speed at the same time. But this man has absolutely no discomfort at all. Because he is also a genius far beyond ordinary people. Mr. Blue, Samuel Stern. Especially when he obtained Banner's blood and successfully became a big boss. IQ ascension 1,000 times. This kind of thing, in his opinion, is nothing but trivial. Things went wrong with Hulk, and Abomination didn't become the first fruit of Banner's blood. On the contrary, he completed the evolution under the risky attempt. Now it is even more hooked up with General Ross. The two of them are arguably the most obsessed with creatures like the Hulk. Even if the blood is enough, he is still unwilling to give up this strange monster. Although New York's infrastructure is not perfect, there are often vacancies in the middle of the camera, but he filled those vacancies through his own IQ. Hulk disappeared. A figure similar to Banner appeared. Under his collection filter, Banner thought he was hiding his whereabouts well, and was completely exposed to Mr. Land's eyes. Pause the screen. The last place Banner appeared was a building. Hung Lai Building. Hulk, I found you anyway. Ross looked at this famous building, and the excitement in his heart was uncontrollable. Hulk doesn't have death, just hides. And hiding in places like New York within easy reach. Do we let our guard down when we think it's under the eyes? You are still a little tender. This time I must catch you. If you can't catch it, I will directly destroy it. As for the popularity of the Hung Lai Building, Yi-Han's social status, he completely put it in the back of his mind. Anyone who stands in the way of getting Hulk is his opponent. Send my order, get in touch with Yi-Han, and ask him to hand over Bruce Banner, or I'll drive a tank and force him to hand it over. For Hulk, he has gradually become crazy. But his order had just begun to be passed, and before it was implemented, it was intercepted by S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. penetrated other departments, although not as strong as Hydra penetrated him, but not bad at all. Within a minute, General Ross's cell phone started ringing. I heard you were looking for trouble with Yi-Han. Nick Fury's voice came from the phone. After learning what General Ross did, he immediately called the other party. Yi-Han's side has stabilized, and General Ross must not be allowed to break the situation. Once Hung Lai is angry, who knows how much trouble that unexplainable building can make. Hulk is in Hung Lai Building. As long as you hand over Hulk, I can say anything. If I don't hand it over, I will never give up. He wasn't a little surprised when there was an S.H.I.E.L.D. in the army. What kind of urine is SHIELD? None of them high-level people do not know. Hearing General Ross's words, Nick Fury was only slightly surprised. When the other party was raging, he was defeated by the people of Penglai Building, so it is not strange to join Penglai. And he didn't worry too much about the Penglai Building's increased combat power. Anyway, SHIELD is little brother compared to each other. One more Hulk has no effect at all. But his calmness was overinterpreted by General Ross. Why are you not surprised at all? Did you already know the news? General Ross was already thinking about whether there was an agreement between SHIELD and Penglai. The two sides jointly developed Hulk and successfully kicked him out. The more he thought about it, General Ross felt that the possibility of this was high, otherwise SHIELD would not have made a special call to stop his own actions because of Yi Han. No matter what you want to do, you must first consider your own strength. You are just a vice admiral in the US Empire, and SHIELD represents the 5 major countries. Seeing that General Ross really didn't make sense, Nick Fury no longer negotiated with him, it was a direct threat. Can't compare to Penglai, can't compare to you alone. Even if you are the real vice admiral, the power in your hand is not inferior to that of the general, but there is a way for SHIELD to do it. General Ross's face was a little blue. No one had ever dared to threaten him like this, and the key point was that he really had to be threatened by the other party. After hanging up, General Ross looked at Mr. Land beside him. I want to let the damn thing Nick Fury die, and I want to make this Penglai Building completely collapse. Find a way for me. The current status of the big boss is like his staff. Without thinking, the big boss gave the answer and put Banner's blood out. That's the best way. 24. X Academy sneaks into the big battle. Blood of Banner. The radiant energy contained in it can successfully cause human mutation. General Ross believes that this kind of mutation can definitely bring extraordinary ability to people. Banner is a testament to that, as is the boss. Now that Owen has these blood in his hands, it means that the Master has the gate of power. I will support all the human and material resources to carry out experiments on these bloods. Regardless of any loss, the results must appear as soon as possible. Thinking of the prospect of the future, General Ross is ready to spend all his money. As long as you gain such power, what SHIELD, just destroy it. And completely tear down this damn building. No one can stop Owen decision. Then grab Hulk and use it as a blood bag for drawing blood. Building a Hulk Legion and conquering the world is not a dream. General Ross's eyes became more and more frantic. Northeast corner of Westchester County, New York. A noble building with the flavor of a corrupt country stands here. Although it has been eroded by the years, it has also added a bit of unique charm to it. On the side of the gate is a wooden raft with the words, Xavier Talented Youth Academy, engraved on it. That is, the famous X Academy. There are people of all ages playing in it, and it looks no different from an ordinary school district, but anyone who knows something will understand the energy contained in these children. They are all sad people who came here because of their own special. Now I have found my own happiness. Cyclops, with red eyes and a poker face, pushed Professor X, accompanied by some teachers and students on the grass to relax. The professor's mood has not been very good since a few days ago. The youth and happiness that permeated around him did not make him feel better. This made the teachers and students of the whole school a little worried. They hadn't seen such a gloomy expression for a long time. Every time it appears, it is a major event that will endanger the entire mutant. Professor, is something going to happen? Storm couldn't hold his breath, and had already started asking. The other party's expression really gave her huge amounts of pressure. Others also locked their eyes on the professor. I found Raven's trail the other day, in New York. As soon as these words came out, the others suddenly had some enlightenment. Although Mystique has always been separated from various forces, it is obviously more inclined to the idea of Magneto. If the other party appears, does it mean that Magneto has a new conspiracy? She is now in one place every day, the headquarters of a large economy, the Penglai Building. As long as there is a problem with this company, the whole world will be in turmoil. The professor paused for a moment and said, "We must be ready for battle." When I said this, it was with great sadness. Magneto and Raven are his best friends, but unfortunately the three of them are always fighting, which is not good for him. Still need to get in touch with him first. Grey Jean said. If the other party's goal doesn't create a conflict between the mutant and the humans, they have no reason to stop it. The professor nodded, his face softened a little. If it wasn't for the kind of thing that couldn't be compromised, he really didn't want to stand against Raven and the others. After all, they are one race. Why not talk to Mystique directly? Cyclops suggested to the professor. They all know the power of Professor Mental Energy. As long as you lock the other party, you can contact the other party. The other party has made preparations. The entire building is protected by some kind of barrier. I can only be sure that there is Raven's mental fluctuations, but I can't invade. The professor became more and more certain about the speculation that Magneto was planning a conspiracy. Who else but Magneto knows himself so well? I need a few people to sneak in and get in touch with Raven. If the other party has a conspiracy, be prepared to be frustrated. I'm going to investigate. Storm signed up quickly. Both she and Cyclops were trained by professors as successors. Both of them knew this. Cyclops needs to take care of professors and students in the college, so he can only lead the affairs after arriving in Penglai. If it's Raven, I'll go take a look too. Beast, who is the perfect combination of ferocity and refinement, said. He had a good relationship with Mystique at the beginning. Although the time interval was a bit long, he still thought that Mystique would have an old relationship. At least after being discovered, it will not be killed. Aren't you afraid of being exposed? Cyclops asked. With a look like Beast's, people will definitely notice him whenever he goes out. I have a potion. The potion that Beast made back then could make ability disappear, but it turned back into a human form. With this, he can also live freely in the world of ordinary people. Take me with you. Just when the professor was about to finalize the two of them to go, the little Naughty came over. The most wild child in the center of the academy, the desire for the outside is endless. But since entering, have not been out once. Now that she heard the opportunity to go out, she definitely didn't want to let it go. We have a mission this time, don't make trouble. Storm directly declined. The outside world is always full of dangers for mutant. This may be the only harbor that can bless their safe growth. None of these students can leave until they grow up. The little Naughty wanted to continue to convince them, but Colossus directly pinched the collar and took him away like a kitten. I only saw little Naughty, all kinds of waving and kicking, but to no avail. Looking at this scene, everyone will smile. They are working so hard, isn't it just to let the children live such a life? Storm began to prepare, and Beast went to prepare this potion that had not been used for many years. Everyone slowly dispersed. Only the little Naughty eyes rolled around, as if thinking about something. At this time, a little girl passed in front of her. There was some joy in the little Naughty eyes. You don't take me out, I'll go out by myself. Wait until Storm and Beast leave quietly. The little Naughty dragged the little girl out from behind the tree. Guy, get me out of here. This little girl is naturally a Shadowcat that can pass through walls. Will I be punished by the Dean for doing so? Shadowcat is not like a little Naughty, is a very good boy. Listen to Big Sis, wait until I get back to bring you snacks, or I'll ask someone else to help. The little Naughty took out the snacks as a bait, and Shadowcat agreed. The two held hands and rushed towards the wall together, but the moment they collided with the wall, they passed right through. Go back, I'll bring you snacks back. The little Naughty is like a wild horse that has taken off the reins. Before he can finish speaking, he has disappeared from Shadowcat's sight. 25. The trouble going behind the X-Men. There has been a sharp increase in the number of special ability employees who have recently joined their own companies. Hulk hasn't even met yet, and has 3 new employees. Orlo Monroe, Storm, becomes your employee and gets the bonus 12 spell, Dragon Spell, ability. Henry McCoy, Beast, becomes your employee, earns the reward, Retribution Blueprint. Anna Marie, Little Naughty, becomes your employee and gets the reward. River God version Autumn famous mountain bike god. Ability. Rewards are all good. 12 spells are one more, and the distance to the collection is also one step closer. Feeling the dragon blasting hidden in the body, the power is indeed not small, making up for the lack of Yi Han's long-range attack. Retribution design drawings, it's a bit biased, but fortunately, Yi Han also did shapeshifting Vajra fans for a while. This is the flagship of the Decepticon leader Megatron. It is about 4,000 meters long, has a wingspan of 2,800 meters and a height of 2,000 meters. There are cannons all over the body, equipped with universe-twisting shuttle technology. It is a veritable battleship. Unfortunately, it is only a design drawing now, and it is not an easy thing to build. The technology obtained from the rewards of ordinary people before is not fully understood in the company. This is going to go further back. As for the River God version Autumn famous mountain bike god, this is not something that Fujiwara Takumi can match. As long as it is something that needs to be driven, there is no 3 words, can't drive, in front of this ability. From the Heavenly Horse mount to the Battleship Gundam, just sit on it and you can drive. And it is directly at the level of mastery. It is by no means so simple. However, when Yi Han saw this information, the first thought in his mind was not those rewards. Instead, it's all mutants who come. After all, no matter how good things are, he is not short of them. A peaceful life is our own pursuit. This point, Yi Han has always been consistent. But this is obviously the rhythm of looking for trouble. The few mutants who come here are not the kind of cats and dogs, and they are ranked first in the entire mutant world. But they got together to own the company, and they always thought they were going to do something. Yi Han is not afraid of what they will do, and they will destroy the earth if they fight again. But doing things in the company will always disturb your own life. I hope they can think about it, or they can only trouble themselves a little to solve these influences on their own people. And these 3 people don't know how critical their own situation is. Storm was there berating the Little Naughty. Just now they also discovered that the other party actually sneaked in. Do you know how dangerous this is? You may have been targeted when you left school. How much trouble it will bring us, and how much trouble you will have you ever thought about it? Storm is definitely an example of a cold-hearted and kind-hearted person, who is clearly caring, but still reprimands him sharply. Beast, who has become a weak chicken, stepped in and did not stop him. The character of the Little Naughty must be taught a lesson, otherwise it will definitely suffer in the future. Although the outside world is gorgeous, there are too many dangers in it. They dare not mention any crisis that they can ignore in the outside world, let alone a naughty child. If the Little Naughty doesn't find the company this time, the ability, which is a variant of the Guard of Honor, may be her biggest reminder. Storm scolded fiercely. The Little Naughty bowed his head and did not respond, as if he realized his own mistake. But the face that was covered by the hair showed disbelief. And you could be targeted when you came out, how is this possible? These teachers will be intimidating. But she didn't know that just after she stepped into the company, a person appeared behind her. Just across the road, staring at her as she enters the building. I'm afraid he has been following her invisibly before. After sticking out his slender tongue a few times, the man disappeared from everyone's sight again. Forget it. What job did you apply for? Seeing that the Little Naughty was not obedient, Storm reluctantly asked her about her job position. Since the other party has already come, she can't be driven out. I'm an intern and I've been appointed as a secretary's assistant. Xiao Naughty boasted. Storm was a little disappointed and said to Beast. Secretary assistants don't have many contacts. Most of them are dealing with chores for those secretaries. It seems that we still have to find them. Secretaries who can be equipped with assistants generally have a higher status. So trivial things will also increase, and secretary assistants are born for this. After doing this job, even if the Little Naughty is isolated, he can't do anything useful at all. On the other hand, she and Beast joined key departments. Beast joined the science department, and relying on Superman's wisdom, he could travel between multiple laboratories. Just looking at a few labs, Beast can see that the standards of these projects are very high, and some of them do not have a master. Mystique probably found some technology here and wanted to steal it. So he managed to put it there. Storm joined the administrative department, in charge of personnel coordination. This makes it easier for her to find someone. The little Naughty looked at the two of them in disappointment, because she was a big help to help, but she only came to be squeezed for labor. Right here, a sweet voice sounded. Where is my assistant? Why don't you go up? I'm going to be too busy. The little Naughty quickly agreed and ran towards the man. Storm and Beast also turned around, wanting to communicate with each other. After all, what Mystique is good at is change, and it's hard to find clues if you search aimlessly. Getting to know some people first is a good choice. But as soon as they turned around, they heard exclamations all over. Orlo. Hank. What are you doing? The two froze in place for a moment. None of them came in with their real names. And Hank was originally a nickname, and not many people knew this name at all. How could the other party know? But suddenly, they understood each other's identity. What else is hidden? You don't need to look for it at all, the other party is right in front of you. Are you coming to work too? Mystique didn't respond a bit, and regarded them as people who were coming to work. After all, this company has her, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider. A few more mutants aren't too weird. Thinking that they were old acquaintances before, Mystique also wanted to chat with them and arrange some important and not tiring tasks for them. As a result, in an instant, 3 people and 6 hands had already captured her and headed for the safe passage where no one would normally be there.